play PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding the skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
OBS actually coming alive, dealing the damage onto Ottoman. Untouched from 3D Max has found some of the DM players. It is kick.
And this is what I'm saying. The Blues going to start shrinking in 20 seconds.
They can't catch a break. The Blues doing a lot of damage. We're at phase 7. Kitsune is going to be able to...
We're down to 2v1 at this point. Now we're down to 1v1. We see BemyLoot. He's in the blue. He wants to get the best of this.
Take the damage. Can he hold it on?
Go.
Right. Kitsune's across the board. Asher's just going to keep him at bay. More grenades coming out. Shots being fired off by Kitsune. This could be huge. Unique managed to get it done. The nades go.
Performance today, doing really, really good. But Unique is getting the better of them.
Who really don't have much cover to fight with here. right? It was, oh, you wait, now you're not in the circle, you try to move out, another team's close by.
Right, Avangar have had a really bad day thus far. They need to step it up. Circle and PSK staying alive a little while longer. This nade.
Oh, they found him.
Yep.
FromHelll, they've come into it as well. They're doing so much. But he does it. He finds the knock onto Jonathan. Welcome to the lobby under pressure. Hellfire knocks down 2 players. How is he able to get away with this? A clip, but 2 players on very low health, 1 being knocked down. Gnarly comes alive, and welcome to the lobby. They can't catch a break. It's starting to happen, and this is FromHell's chance. Eclipse gets finished off. FromHelll are ready and waiting. They do the final. Yeah, is it really worth it, right? That's what it's going to come down to. Ghetto gets knocked down once again. Another player, though, able to be returned fire. FTP do lose 1. Can they hold on? Lavazin trying to drop the first aid kit, but another shot comes in. It's not going to work out. It's a shotgun to the...
Yeah, I'm all for it. But here we just see them training back and forth. OBS loses 2 members who are trying to approach the building.
If K can get away with this now, this would be huge. But those nades go a little bit too far forward. Mackie needs to run, but it's not going to work out. Boom goes him, and the Carter smokes are down, but he's instantly eliminated. A little bit of a fight going on between OBS. Makar comes in once again.
Makar going huge! 2.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
It is the final day of week 2, and it's the final day for 8 teams here at the PUBG Mobile Club Open 2019, and this is what it all comes down to. Some of these teams may be wishing they stepped it up a little bit earlier to ensure they don't get eliminated, but as always, you've got myself, James Banks, joined by Matthias Larson to take you through all the action, and if you don't quite understand what we're talking about, you can check out down below on the clubopen.pubgmobile.com website all the standings, all the kind of what it says on the regions, the VODs, everything you can look at. You can even subscribe to our YouTube channel to make sure you're catching all of the content that you may have missed on previous days. Because if you are just joining in, if it is your first day coming here and seeing what's going on for PUBG Mobile, well, Larson, they've joined us on the correct day, because this is the day where it's do or die for a lot of teams. Some certainly can't make it, but there's this little bit of a battle because we've now seen, obviously yesterday we got A and D, now we go on to the next set of groups and we get to say, okay, you may think you're safe, but one of these teams could jump up and potentially steal your spot.
So today is the day where we see a lot of the bottom teams, they need to step up.
Yeah.
And what we saw from yesterday was that a lot of these teams that know they'll be fighting later on and they feel like they're safe, they will fight for their loot spots.
Oh, yeah.
So you will see a lot of early fights today that you probably won't see at all in the next 2 weeks of casting this.
Ooh, and that's what makes it more interesting,
Just
right?
because these teams are like, feel like, all right, we're through. We're not at the bottom 8. We don't have any risk of falling out. And therefore, they just want to have their loot spot.
Now, when you're looking at the placement points and how it's all working out here, getting in within, say, the top 6 placements, right, you can still get a lot of points, which could change your game dramatically. Some of these teams do only need 20, 30 points, and they'd be able to jump straight up and avoid elimination. And this is where it comes down to. They're going to be number crunching, going to be looking at it all and saying, in theory, if we can get this many points, then we're safe. If we can't, and one of these other teams does well, there's so much of a factor in it of like, it's just could be 1-2 points separating a team coming through into the next stage, coming through into the next week, or getting eliminated and going out now and saying, oh, we didn't do well enough.
Mm-hmm. And one thing I want to point out, though, you say you want to play safe, you want to get these placement points, but I'm really against just, playing too passive and only going for placement points because, all right, you might be able to make this cut, but further along the line, that will not cut it, right?
Exactly.
If you want to make it to the grand finals, you want to move through, we only have 2 slots here in EU to go to the global grand finals in July in Berlin.
Yep.
And if you just think, hey, I'm going to make my strategy around getting placement points, you will never get anywhere. And the reason I say this is, how do I put this? If you want to be top 2, right, this is the perfect practice. You're on the stage, you're on the stream, everybody's watching you. If you want to be picked up by an org or whatever, you need to prove yourself here.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, it's not just a pocket strategy you can pull out, right? You're like, yeah, we'll play passive, and when it comes to it, we'll play aggressive. No. You have so many games here, and I feel like if you think you're one of the best teams, you need to show up now. And one team I want to point out today is M19.
Yeah.
They're sitting right now, I believe, between 16th or 17th spot. And they've been very, very quiet for us. And I feel like more than anything, they've been going to go for these placement points, right? They're not playing aggressive. They're obviously a good team. They've been picked up by a prestigious org here in the CIS region. But I want to see confidence. I want to see people take these fights and actually show they can be, one of these 2 teams and actually make it all the way.
And that's what it's going to come down to. Now, the groups we're going to be seeing today are B and C. And like you mentioned there, Larson, M19 there in it. Kuma, the team we enjoy watching on many occasions, they're also in it. White Pulse, who was the #1 team before we saw the games yesterday. And remember, guys, this is how it works. You may see on your screens at the moment, you go, oh, we're looking at the standings. There's another team that's way far ahead in points. Well, that's not really fair because they're 4 games behind on some of these teams. So this is where it gets very interesting. We also get to see Magic to see what they can do again. CZ, one of the teams trying to avoid elimination. We've got B13, the Golden Boyz. They've had some solid games. We've been impressed with some of their play. Face-to-face as well in there, but it's not been most ideal for them. And you see this, look, White Pulse, just off the back of yesterday, they go from 1st to 7th place. But again, they're at a 4-game disadvantage now. And they're the only team within that top 8 that hasn't played all the matches, which goes to show that there's still a lot of change that could happen here.
Yeah, and White Pulse, we've seen them play aggressive. They always try to get the center of the map they're playing on so they can make early rotations, glued up quick, and then take advantage of that. And that is something you need to have a lot of skill to do, right? You have to be able to fight for your spot and then just be able to make everybody go away. And they've been playing really, really well.
Now, I'm really looking forward to seeing if B13 can jump up and how far they can get within this top 8 because, again, they're another team down a few matches in there. ASC. Now, ASC is interesting, right? Because relatively quiet in a lot of games, but they're always within a position where you'd at least see them in the top 10. They're also getting a few kills alongside it, and it's kind of been a steady, slow race for them. But this is where it gets crazy, Larson.
Yes.
From 25 onwards, any of these teams could be eliminated. But even some of these teams just here, just take a look at the points. It can be very close to what we're going to see on the next set of standings.
Yeah, definitely. And looking at this, I don't want to make any predictions just yet.
It's too hard, man. It's far too hard.
I mean, it's 4 more games and anything can happen, right?
Oh, yes.
When we start to get closer to maybe the Erangel games, then we'll start calling out, all right, these teams, they're really, really close to facing elimination. They need to step it up. So far, so forth. But we still have 4 games today. And I think we'll just, the further we go along here, we'll call it out. Some of the teams here we already know are eliminated. We know, for example, Asterion, they played yesterday. They're out. Another team that played yesterday was Cream. I believe they were in what was it, 23, 24, 25?
Yep.
So they're probably going to face elimination. But, I mean, All it takes is a team like Flex, who is at the bottom. If they had a terrible day today, then Cream might make it.
And that's it, right? There's a lot of teams at the moment from their other groups that are relying on some of these other teams now to actually, please do badly. You might save us. You might give us a spot potentially. And that's the thing right now. It's not just say, oh, okay, you're looking at your group. This is the other groups now saying, oh, God, please, are you going to do good? Are you going to do bad? Because if the teams we expect to be dominant, like White Pulse, continue that dominance here today, then they're potentially taking points away from teams. Because White Pulse has made it, right? They're clear. They're through. But they're potentially taking extra points away from some teams who desperately need it. Yeah. And this is where you have to prove yourself early on. People may think, oh, there's plenty of games, 24 games, no problem. We can come back into this. Well, if you don't play off well from the start, you could find yourself in a situation like some of these teams and be saying, oh, man, we've fallen just a little bit short.
But there's always motivation for the team like White Pulse. You say they could literally just not play today and still make it through. But if they prove a point and they're really good in all these 4 games, they have a bigger chance of getting picked up by an organization and so forth and so forth. So I think everybody's playing for something here, right?
Yeah, and that's what it's about, right? Because it is also the pride factor. Because if you can just jump up even further on the scoreboards, you're saying, hey, look, we're dominating in every game. We come to the lobby prepared. We come to the lobby ready to deal serious damage, not just in placement points, in kills as well. And we're showing that it doesn't matter who we're facing, doesn't matter which group we're going up against, we will be the team where everyone wants to be fearing us.
And that's very important to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
you literally want some of these teams, right, to know that as soon as you get the first kill or knock and they go, oh, my God, that's White Pulse, or oh, my God, that's unique. And you want to kind of make them either doubt themselves or back away at times. Because then you are the aggressors. You are the guys with a massive advantage going into it.
And there's definitely also an intimidation factor, as you mentioned. When other teams see one team are just popping off or they're like really high on the leaderboard, you know they can afford to be more aggressive, so when they're in your area, you kind of like want to go away from them to some extent, because you know, all right, they might just come and shoot at us, and then, I don't know, there's a lot of intimidation going on. Just by the fact with how aggressive you are, how many fights you take, and how well you do. Sometimes when you see a team that are at the bottom, you're like, all right, that's some easy kills, we're going to go get those. But then if you see a team that is at the top, who's been getting so many kills every game, and you're kind of like, yeah, we probably shouldn't take this fight. We can avoid this team.
Now, a very good plane overall here. We're pretty central, literally right down the middle. Question is, where will the circle go? White Pulse have already grabbed their spot. Say me, that's where they want to kind of sit for now. We've got Ultra going off towards Docks. Bantai. Now, you pointed out previously that some of these teams were not dropping there, and that's not a bad spot for them to take here.
Yeah, I love Painan. We do see M19 there. Good spot for them. I believe White Pulse thus far, they've always been dropping in boot camp. I just can't tell if there's like 17 teams there. Where is White Pulse right now? They're actually all the way down
at the bottom. Yeah, at the bottom at Sami.
Maybe I'm wrong and it's only welcome to the lobby.
There's a lot of teams fighting for boot camp again, though. What's that, at least 3 teams?
It's hard to say, but I do see a brown color, a blue color, and a red color, right? So TRD, Romanian squad, and where the last team is, I can't tell you.
Now, with this map being so small, as you can see, when you get a center circle, it is pretty much covering everyone. And so we'll see this kind of slow down just a little bit early on, give teams space. But it's more that where there are multiple teams in one location, that's where we're going to be looking and saying, all right, okay, how is this going to pan out now? Because are they going to take these fights? Because like you always say, there is no need, especially right now when you get a circle like this.
Definitely. But if these teams, like I mentioned, they feel like they already qualified, they're good, then they can fight for boot camp. And that's why we see at least 2 teams here. We have OMGG and we have TRD, but just playing very, very passive. Up to the north, we saw Misu, that's the Romanian squad, I believe. And they're just going to be battling it out here. Slow and steady. Nobody want to make any big moves here. As long as people are just playing inside buildings, even you get a knock, you won't be able to finish them, and then you just trade armor, you trade meds. So that's not the ideal situation. You obviously want to move into this position where you can do something up from a knock. So that's why we see OMGG, they're moving around. TRD, they're just all staying in the building here. Shots being fired back and forth. OMG actually managed to get the first knock here. And we can see all 4 members of TRD, they're stuck inside this big red building here. When you're 4 people looting one house, you're not going to have a lot of utility. You're not going to have a lot of meds. So if they can get a knock or 2 more, TRD is might going to run completely out of meds here.
And that's never what you want to see happen, right? That's not how it's supposed to go down. Question is, can they hold off? Can they stay alive for this little bit longer? Now, OMGG, We speak about this team quite a bit. We say about what they can do. Now it's time for them to prove themselves. They aren't the same OMG as some people might think when you look at a certain roster from a different region.
Do you want to call them OMG? Because they have the Danish letter in there?
Oh, God. I cannot keep... See, you're fine with this, right? Your pronunciation of Danish words, being a Dane, is obviously very good. Mine, I couldn't even say it again.
We can do OMG. G.
OMG.
G. That's two G's.
OMGG.
Yeah, OMGG.
I'm just literally insulting basically every Danish person right now.
We were talking about that I should do this Danish accent so everybody could understand that I am from Denmark.
Yeah, that's the thing. You don't have the quote-unquote typical Danish voice when it comes to that.
No, it's so funny actually. And, you know, like the newer generations, they're obviously on the internet. They have a lot more access to English. But when we were growing up, like our parents, they would say like, thank you. And they would have like a super thick accent. And then, I don't know, when I was at the age of 10, you're almost embarrassed when you hear your parents speak English. But we do see Kuma here. They're engaging onto face-to-face. Kuma, they're sitting pretty okay. And they're all standing face-to-face to all the way at the bottom.
Yeah.
So face-to-face, they cannot guard this early, right? They need to get every single point they can today.
And they can't afford to be scared of going into this fight, right? I do not want to see them think, oh, okay, well, we can't be eliminated, let's back away. Some of these fights you're going to have to take, and the fact that Kuma is bringing it to them, they need to find a way to deliver on this. And already finding one player there losing a bit of health, which is less than ideal to start things off with, because this early on, like you were saying earlier, meds may not be the strongest thing here for a lot of these players. And look at how Kuma have positioned themselves. Two players just a little bit further away, ready to come into this compound and try and take the fight if needed, while the other two players from Kuma, up close and personal, trying to move forward and see if they can get some of the face-to-face members out of position.
One thing I want to point out, James, this entire tournament thus far, Kuma have been probably one of the most passive teams in the lobby. I like the change of pace, right? They're saying, all right, we have the points we need to get through to the next round, and now they just want to fight. Show them that they're actually a team capable of fighting as to get another knock, and they want to push in on this. We see Topsy going into the building. He spots one, but I don't know if he sees the second guy.
Spraying it out. They found the one knock. They've done a lot of damage. Topsy's got to be careful. They're all close. Shooting out the door. It's going to try and make it work. Nicely done from him, but they are still going to lose a player. Face to face. Got two players up alive, not too much health on some of them. Getting close once again. The Molotov's burning them alive as well. It's a bit back and forth. There's still potential here for them to win it out. Topsy gets pushed up, and that's Kuma eliminated. They get 2 kills. Face to face have lost 1. They'll be able to revive the other. But overall here, 4 kills for face to face. They've managed to hold their position, and potentially there's some meds on Kuma there to help them out. This is exactly what they needed to avoid elimination.
Yeah, and definitely one thing I saw in that fight, Kuma, they went 1 by 1 by 1.
Yeah.
When you want to push a house, you have to go all together. You need to be able to trade. You can't just go into the house alone and, you know, not be able to trade or get the revive up. But that's why they're practicing, right? They feel safe. They want to make the mistakes now. The only way you improve is like, all right, we lost this fight. It went really, really bad for us. What can we do different the next time? And then, you know, when they go in, they have a week now of break. Well, they have 3 more games today, obviously. But after that, they have a week where they can go back, reflect on the games and say, all right, what do we need to improve on to the next week, right?
And that's what we see the team like 3D Max do very well.
I just want to point out, I like what Kuma did. They did go out in first. They died really early, but you need to make these mistakes to improve. And hopefully we'll see them learn from it, right?
Well, and that's what it's all about. They have to learn from these kind of things. They cannot make these mistakes, especially, like you said, they're a team that we think, okay, they've pretty come into a position where we say they've made it through, right? They're not going to be eliminated.
They look safe at least, right?
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is, you can be safe, but you still have to be taking some of these fights and saying, all right, when we go into another lobby where there's 24 teams remaining, it's still very stacked. It gets harder. We need to be able to play better than what we did even in the early games.
Some of the rotations starting happening. We see M19, they're moving out of Anan. We have Rosq right here. They're just chilling. Maybe denying people access over the water, even crossing the bridge himself.
Yep.
I don't know what he just shot at. Maybe it was a misclick. Who knows? But yeah,
It can happen.
oh yeah, all the time. I'm a PC player, right? And when I turn too much because I have really low sensitivity, all the time I smash my mouse into the keyboard and then I shoot by accident.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It happens.
So M19, a team that was just on your screens then, was a team we say they are literally on the edge of relegation. If
No.
Game.
I just want to see them do more, right? They're in 16s right now. 16, 17 spot. They're not close to relegation, but I would like to see them higher. I feel like they've been very, very quiet. They do not have a lot of kill points. They've just been like, all right, we're just going to go for placement through and through. And that might be enough in these early stages, right? But later on, no, that's not going to cut it.
So in terms of the points there, if they don't do well today, it's currently sat in 17th, a lot of these teams that are from the lobby they're currently playing in can leapfrog. And we saw better games out of Flex. We saw CZ play all right sometimes. So there is still potential for them to be
Okay, yeah, I mean, they're 17th. I wouldn't say they're close, but if they play bad today, they can be relegated.
And look what we saw yesterday from Avangar as an example. Yes, they're safe, but out of nowhere, they had some of the worst games we've seen. Anything is possible.
And M19 actually lost one member early here. Sorry for interrupting you. They're down to just 3.
And this is not what they want to see. Rosq ready to try and take this fight onto M19. So we wondered what Rosq was shooting at. Maybe they did spot M19 from afar. Obviously, we weren't on first-person mode to actually see how it was going down. And now M19 need to make a decision here. Do we go in for this fight? We know we've knocked one of the players. Is it possible that we can try and take a win here? He's got the smoke in front of him to give him an idea that this is actually a position that Rosq are going to try and hold on to. Got the UMP in his hands as well.
Ames, we better hope that Thanos finds some Infinity Stones of our square here so they can put it together.
Exactly. They're going to need the Infinity Stones if they want to try and take this because they're going up against the full Rosq squad. And instantly we see him. He's gone up close. He moved up very close to being able to take the fight, and now he's gone further back because his teammates are not with him. So at least right now, M19 are making the good decisions in terms of communication.
What is this push even? Look at them. They're all 3 playing 1 by 1 by 1. If any of them get knocked, there's no trades, there's no revives. And I'm really, like, what this screams to me is that they do not have, like, a good in-game leader, or they do not have confidence in the in-game leader, because everybody's just doing their own thing and they're not, like, following a call, right?
Yeah.
Either they should be like, all right, we're going for this fight or we're going to disengage. But right now, it just looks like everybody's just kind of working on their own, right? And we keep mentioning this over and over again. If you want to be one of the top teams in any esports, you need to have teamwork. Just playing as an individual will not get you anywhere.
And that's it, right? You can be someone who is able to get 10 kills at a time, but a lot of that's down to how your team sets you up or how it works in terms of actually saying, we're going to push this together and allow this man to be like kind of the bait at sometimes. But no, right here, right now, we're going to be looking at an understanding of who's going to play out the smartest plays and who's going to be the real teamwork, making that dream work happen.
These matchups, Queso here, fantastic on this map, especially because there's so much close quarter combat.
Yeah.
We do just see Nox going back and forth between Romanian squad, TRD, and who's the last one at bootcamp? It was OMGG, right?
Yes.
So these 3 teams are just knocking each other, but they're nowhere near each other, so they won't be finished. They're basically just throwing away their armor, their ammo, their meds, and I would call all these 3 teams here, they're losing, right? Nobody's winning this fight. They're all for alive, but they're just using their utility, their armor, and yeah. Unless you commit to the fight, like, I don't see a point of this. It's literally just wasting time, right? Nobody's really proving a point. Okay, you can sit in the building and not move, then you're both losing. Nobody's really doing anything.
Now that circle has just popped. We're kind of a little bit over towards Quarry. Gone very central once again, but you noticed majority of the teams already start to get into position, realizing that, okay, there's not going to be a lot of compounds to try and fight from here. So the teams that are still fighting on the edge of boot camp, yes, some of you are in the circle, some of you are trying to gatekeep a little bit, but also you're potentially losing positions that are closer in towards that center circle, and now you're also potentially going into battles where you might end up losing out here.
One thing we can note out with Sanhok, it's a lot smaller map than the other ones.
Yeah.
It's 4 by 4 kilometers. I believe Erangel is 8 times 8. So this is a lot smaller, right? It's half the size. So you don't need any vehicles. The blue is also moving slower. So all these teams, they can basically outrun the blue throughout this entire game. And you can kind of like take your own pace while you're rotating, right? But if you're playing Erangel right now, you're far away from the zone, you don't have a vehicles, you'll be in big hurt. But here the teams can just up to fight it out, go on foot, and not have to worry too much about the safe zone, just due to the fact that it doesn't really move that fast. And because the map is a lot smaller, you do not have to move as far neither.
Now we've got CZ on the screen. Again, on the edge of the circle. Now, this is one of those teams that we see ever so often that does love to play on the edge. They like to keep it a little bit more chilled and try and stop any teams rotating back around. But at least for now, they're not under pressure. They've got time. to kind of find their footing and understand what they want to do here. Magic's another team, right? We've not seen too much from them already in this game. We are only 12 minutes in, but that's a team that have showed us levels where they can really step it up. But again, here, they just want to solidify themselves. They are in 18th place at the moment, but they can quickly turn around off a few bad games, so they need to make sure they hang on to it once again.
Yeah, we've seen sparks of life from Magic, but they're really, really inconsistent. And the biggest thing about these Battle Royale games, when you play this many rounds in over a long period of time, you need to be consistent.
We're talking about them. Champions found the knock onto Vasil, and this is it. ASE starting to move their way down. Nades coming. They've got the high ground advantage, and that's going to work out perfectly. The knock comes in. They get 2 of them for it. Champions on the hunt for more. Master's trying to duck and dive and find himself a bit of cover to try and bring up some of his teammates. But ASE, they are applying the pressure. They don't want to hold back, and they're looking to eliminate Magic right here, right now. And that's exactly what happens.
They didn't even put up a fight, James. They were just sitting right next to each other, not covering any of the flanks. And they were just able to run down the hill and run them over. This is why I cannot stress it enough. You do not want to do what Flex is doing right now. If you're just laying in one clump, it's so easy to get pushed by teams. You can get flanked, you can get surrounded, and I don't know, I'm not a big fan. All right, if you're in a compound like TD here, sure. But if you're laying in the open, you want to cover all your angles. And Magic, they pretty much just covered nothing and got run over. I hate to see it. I really, really want to see these teams step it up, be more confident, and not just get run over, right? You need to at least knock some people when they're running down. When Ace was pushing down the hill, you need to fire back. And the only way you do that is if you stand up, you get the information and they're actually pushing, and you use the rocks and the trees around you, even the hillside. You have so many options to play around, but yeah.
Now, let's have a look at this, right? White Pulse, one of the teams at the furthest south you can go on Sanhok, yet they've still rotated very well. They're already inside Quarry. There's new circles popped, and they've got a good position. They've got a compound to fight from. This is how you should be playing it. This is a team to look at and say, okay, we're making good decisions here, where some of these other teams are still willing to fight it out right on the edge or not rotate fast enough or just not rotate in the clean fashion that costs them either a player or 2 potentially on that rotation in.
Yeah, and what we see a lot of teams do is like they just go on the edge, they hit the prone, and then they never move. But you can be a lot more proactive. If you want, you can do exactly what you said. White Balls, they just, you know, go nice and slow, scout ahead of them, and make sure they get into a comfortable spot in the zone. They did get lucky with this one, but I'm sure if the circle had moved, they'd just try to reach another compound.
Ultra. They're going to try and find themselves a little bit of space, but actually they ended up walking into White Pulse here.
He got stolen by Team Hayro official there.
It's like, Ultra's just there, stuck in between 2 teams, unexpectedly. White Pulse are thinking, yes, we're going to get some extra kill points here. And then Hayro saying, hey guys, yeah, we'll take that. Thanks for that. You get the knock, we hear the shots, and we'll do the finishing off.
Yeah, and that's a big part of PUBG and PUBG Mobile. It's just, if you don't confirm your knocks, everybody else is going to be looking at them. They hear shots, they're going to look towards it.
They're under pressure from TQ, though. So there's a lot of teams around this just edge of Quarry. That's going to be very interesting because White Pulse, in a lot of places, like we said, they rotate well, they get these compounds, but not so often do we see them under pressure from multiple teams.
And Hayro's getting picked apart here. We see 1 knock, we see Coffin, he's almost down to no HP. He just makes it into the building. And I believe off to the right, we saw another guy almost bleeding out or dying. So, under a lot of pressure here.
Nice shots coming in. Real Coffin does end up getting knocked down. Smoke going out so he can revive his teammate by the looks of it here for TQ, which is a really smart play. This is how you want to see it get done, right? And so many teams kind of don't understand the full benefit of utility here.
Yep, we see Hayro, they're just holding them up. They know that TQ has to come in from the blue. So nice use of cover here. You might wonder, why is he open to the guys up on the hill? Well, if he doesn't stand in front of the tree, all the teams down in the quarry will shoot him in the back. So that's the reason behind that. You normally think, hey, shouldn't you hide behind the tree and let them come? But no, if he doesn't stand there, then he'll be shot in the back by another team. And TQ here, they're down to just 1 guy. He's sitting in the blue. He does have a lot of meds, 11 bandages, 4 stims, 4 first aids. So if he chooses to, he can stay here for a while. Another team engaging here, it's Ace and it's OMG.
And this is where it's going to be difficult for ASE. They need to make sure they hold on to this. OMGG are putting the pressure on. They're trying to get into this compound. Champion's going to have to be on a bit of hero play here. Back and forth. ASE able to hold on at least for now. They're able to deliver their damage, and this is the way you want to see it get done. They stand strong. in the face of adversity. And OMGG are going to be eliminated. 12 teams remain, but there's more teams going down as we speak. Over and over again, they're fighting off across multiple positions on the map here. And Rosq, they managed to take down M19. I think that's M19 completely eliminated. And that's a lot of kills up already for them.
Yep, and Ace, they managed to defend that one house. They're 2 alive, 4 members from GG comes in, and they completely flop it. Well played by Ace. M19, as you said, get eliminated. They were in a compound, and they got pushed from people down the hill. You need to be more proactive. You can't just let people walk into your house. And that's what I'm afraid of with M19 in particular. They might just be way too passive. And when they make decisions, they don't do it as a team. They need to watch this back and think, all right.
Now Flex are under a bit of pressure there. We see B13, the Golden Boyz themselves. Grozny's using that VSS to put in some work. You know how much I love that weapon, Larson.
Yeah, it's fantastic, James. We do see here teams are getting gate kit as they try to make it into the zone. White Balls, they found Ultra.
Wow.
Hayro teams also getting knocked down a bit. One team we haven't talked about much this game is Flex. We've been praising them for being really good at fighting, but they've been terrible at rotating, and right now they find themselves in the middle of the zone, going for the placement points more than just fighting in the blue. They changed their strats up a bit, and we'll have to see how it works out for them throughout the day, and if something that will occur more than once, right? Look at them. They're straight in the center. Will they up to go again? We'll see.
Honestly, right, White Pulse continue to impress me. You're the top team, at least, from these teams that are reigning in this group who haven't played all the 12 matches. You were #1 team last time around before we had the extra games played and everything was on even footing. You kept 4 alive here despite having some players put under pressure. You're actually fighting for a lot of space there at the same time. What was that? 3 or 4 teams from different directions, all kind of in a third-party mode, and yet they've still managed to keep it together as a team. This is, if you're some of the other teams looking at this, you should be looking at a team like White Pulse and saying, okay, this is how you get it done.
Definitely. We see Flex, they're getting a few knocks there, making their way back into the zone. CZ tried to move up and help towards them, but Andrew here, he's holding the line. Ace, they're racking up the kills this game.
9 kills already, and they're looking to make some more. Rosq under pressure. It's all going to come down to this little bit of a duel, and he doesn't react fast enough. Where's the rest of his teammates to get the reply frag in? ASE pushing forward, looking to get it done. They do get the reply frag, but now can they get the revive? That's going to be the question. As B13, they're going to be taking down TRD. 6 teams remain, 22 alive, and it is chaos across the entire map, especially up towards this northeast side, where there is about 4 different teams fighting off at the moment. And Flex, they're still in it. They're still trying to hold strong. They're primed and ready, and they know they're going to have a very rough fight trying to get inside this zone.
It is so powerful to prone here on Sanhok. The grass, the rocks, the trees, it's so hard to see anything. It looks like B13 from the high ground though has the advantage here. Will Flex be able to answer this? They're down to a 2v3 right now, so B13 has a knock. Andrew here, he fires more shots with the Groza. Such a deadly weapon. CZ moves in behind him, but he spots them. Finishes off a knock.
Ooh. Spraying away, trying to make it work there.
But still, they managed to get top 5 with a ton of kills. Well played by Flexing. A lot better than what we've seen of them so far. The Romanian squad here is finding the last remainder for Ace. They do have 1 man standing. I take that back. They have 2 men standing. This just battle of all fronts, James.
And this is it, ASE right now. They've got tons of kills, but they've lost 2 players. They're under pressure. They're trying to hold on to this. Both players prone to just spraying out non-stop at White Pulse, who have 4 players still left alive. Damage coming in. And it's Romanians that are going to try and do the damage onto ASE from up high. This is an uphill battle in every sense of the word, and that's going to be it for ASE. But a very strong performance, top 4 finish, and a lot of kills on the board. But there's 7 already up for White Pulse, and you can see this. The high ground is going to be a big factor in how this pans out at the end. B13 fully up and ready. Romania there as well. White Pulse trying to get into it, and it's Rambo who's able to get the first knock there onto B13. How much can Dark Angel do? They need to be able to reply to this very quickly. He comes out, Rambo swinging, he is spraying, and he's living up to his name. Damage being done on the Romanians. They are just not holding back. They're picking them apart, but White Pulse, they see the opportunity, they see the chance. They understand that if they can get involved in this, they can join the third party. This can be their game to take.
White Pulse are playing this so well, right? They're choosing the best time to fight every single time since they have 4 people alive right now. I believe they're down to just like a 4v1 or 4v2 at this point. We don't know if the Romanian... Okay, it's a 4v2.
Yeah.
And VP, they have the cards to win here. they do need to execute it correctly. They can't just run one by one what's happening right now.
Confidence from Tudor. He tries to go out. He found one knock, but then he's instantly going to go down. It's all up to the final member. Hopper spraying away. He's doing a lot of damage. He believes he can make this work, but he's found, he's ended, and Kozak gets the final kill. White Pulse take the win, and they do it in style. So well played from start to finish, Larson.
Yeah.
Textbook, professional level, PUBG Mobile play. I want to see more of this from other teams.
I think you described it perfectly. I was thinking this is literally just perfect textbook. They end up with 12 kills, with all 4 people alive towards the end. And when we looked at White Pulse, right, they did nothing special, they did nothing fancy. They were just rotating correctly, defending the places that they went to, and then when they chose to fight, it was always off what some other teams did, right? They were able to wait out, waiting for the people to either have to running away from the blue zone, so they were easy kills, or just third-partying other team fights, and that is a really, really good way to do it. Something we see a lot from the other teams thus far in the tournament. When people are fighting around them, they just stay prone, they don't do anything. But that's the wrong way to approach it, right? You can get so many extra kills, you can make a lot of space for yourself if you decide to stand up as teams are fighting around you, and White Pulse, they just played it perfectly this game.
All the final 3 teams we had there, right? B13, Romanians, and obviously White Pulse getting the win, all had moments there where they were playing very strong to the advantages they could work there. Romanians, they jumped out, they had the high ground, they were able to take down ASC, but then the problem was B13 was on nearly kind of the same level of position, right, in terms of ground, and that little fight we had towards the end just slightly favored White Pulse because no one was there looking to shoot at them at this point.
No.
B13 tried to take a few shots at some of them prone, but by that point they were all getting wiped out by Romanians, and then there was a massive 2v4 advantage for White Pulse, and it's sometimes that's just the way the cookie crumbles, but I gotta say this, White Pulse were the team furthest away from any circle. They were all the way down in the south, right? They had to then rotate in past other teams, rotate smart, and they did it as a unit. This is how it's supposed to be done.
Yep. One thing I want to point out that you don't see often, right? When we're down to the last 3 teams, it was 3 full 4-man teams. And I kind of like what B13 did. All right, they didn't win the game, but they knew they were between the Romanian squad, they were between White Pulse, so they smoked away White Pulse. They couldn't see them. They decided, all right, we need to kill Romania if we want a chance of winning this game. And all right, it didn't turn out for them, but at least the idea were there. And they managed to get a few more kills, right, before they went out.
And this was the bit I was just talking about earlier, right? ASC, they were down with 2 men. They were being picked off from every team. White Pulse shot at them. They also had Romanians shooting at them. And this is where it was a big decision-making. Now, I fully respect Hopper and Tudor here because Tudor, he knew pressure was being put towards him. He knew his position was known. So what he does was jump out around the rock and goes in for some of the fight. And the thing is, many people would look at that and go, well, why would you do that? You've just put yourself in the open. But he knew he was going to get pushed. He didn't have much health. So him poking out might catch them off guard, might catch them by surprise, and he might potentially get a knock. Sometimes it doesn't work out, but he played it as good as he possibly could.
And that was a really good first game for Sanhok especially.
Yeah. I am actually incredibly happy with how that went down. Not just because of like who we got there winning, but just how these teams were winning it out because they're proving the fact of what we're saying is it's not just about going, oh, I'm going to be super passive and play for placement points because you have to be able to take the smart fights. And if you look at this, White Pulse, they didn't rack up tons of kills right at the beginning.
No.
They did the smart rotation like we were saying. They avoided a few teams. And then they started to engage when we got into Quarry, which was, I believe was like circle 3 or 4. And that's when it started to really kick off for them. And they're like, okay, full steam ahead. The difference there was, though, the Romanians, they were engaged in fights from start to finish just because of where they landed. So they were constantly fighting, but they only walked away with 4 kills because they backed away when it made sense. And look at the total points there for White Pulse. They were said, we had the #1 spot. Now we're 4 games behind. We're going back for that #1 spot.
Yeah. And like we said, like, all right, they're in a really good position now, but they do still want to show off what they're capable of.
Yeah.
And, right, other teams that are watching this, if they see White Pulse in the lobby, they're going to run away scared, or they're at least not going to be like, hey, this is a team I want to be anywhere nearby, right?
Flex and CZ have avoided elimination just off the back of this game.
Ooh.
Straight away. I am very happy to see that you get a game off the bat on Sanhok, which isn't like we speak about so often, a map where some of these teams are actually as well versed as where we come in to say your Miramars or your Erangels, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just some teams play better on it. But you get a good game here on Sanhok, you've taken that pressure off yourself. You go, we're safe for now, boys. We've done it. We're at least in a comfortable position. And now they've got to try and just continue to work this and use this as the best practice as possible, like we were saying earlier.
A few teams that I wouldn't feel safe if I was here. We see face-to-face. They're in the elimination bracket. Like, they're out if they don't show up today. And getting 7 points in the first game, not the way you want to start out. I want to see M19 starting to show up. They could, if they have more games like this, they could potentially fall out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not a huge chance for it, but it's possible. So they really need to think about what they're doing. And at least in my opinion, they need to work on their teamwork, because it looks like it's non-existent, at least in this first Sanhok game here.
And a team like Hayro that you also saw there, they're in a position where it's not guaranteed just yet. They need to continue to rack that up. They can't have too many late games. But we look at this interesting head-to-head, and it's WP White Pulse going up against ASE, and there was kills galore from both sides, but the big win came out from White Pulse. Now, ASE, we saw moments where they played it very well, but they were fighting so much from start to finish. And sometimes, okay, that's just kind of how you run into fights, right? You can't just avoid fights every single time, but also there's decisions you need to make where you back away, because when we got to that final 4 teams, they only had 2 players left alive, and that was the big problem for them.
Yeah, I feel like White Pulse, right? They were just racking up kills, killing people that were either fighting each other or trying to approach from the blue zone, whereas Ace, they had to defend compounds, they had to breach compound, they had to literally fight every time they wanted to move. And they somehow managed to get really, really far into this game. I believe they got 4th position with a ton of kills, 11 or 12.
There was 11 kills for ASE and 10 down, and 4th place overall, which, again, it's just massively benefiting them here to at least say, okay, look, we can have some decent games, and we get that extra Sanhok experience coming in here. Now, this one, in terms of just kills galore here, Kozak gets 4. We see for BagXE 3 come in, but not high amounts of damage needing to be done across the board. But what it does mean is the shots they are taking are the vital shots, and it also shows that teamwork is such a key factor.
And it's like what I want to point out with Kozak, right? 4 kills, 251 damage. It just means that they're third-partying or just shooting people that are already wounded. And, I mean, to put yourself in a position like that and capitalize off it is huge, right? All right, it might not be the most exciting way to watch it, but the only reason they can do it is because of the strategic approach they had to the game, right? And it just turns out, all right, why do you want to work hard when you can work smart?
And in terms of trying to work smarter for some of these teams, Larson, you're now potentially getting eliminated. You have 3 matches ahead of you. What, if you were in this position, would you be trying to think about for these last 3 games? Where would your head be at? Would you be thinking, all right, okay, we need to really play smart the whole way through. We need to maybe potentially hot drop. We need to change up what we're doing. Or would you stick to the kind of game plan that you had already?
All right, so if you have 3 games left on the day, you cannot change anything drastically. If you have had success in the past, you need to go with that strategy.
Okay.
If they wanted to change things up, they should have done it in this prior week, right? On the day, you have maybe 10, 15 minutes between the game. You cannot change your game style drastically. You need to practice that. So for me, on the day here on the spot, they need to do their own thing. They need to not try and change it up drastically and hopefully find success in the way they play themselves.
Well, let's see what success some of these teams can have on the final 3 games. We're moving over to Vikendi next. It's going to be an interesting fair. The nerves are going to be very high for a lot of these teams, and 8 of them will be going home at the end of today. Time will tell how it will go down, but time will tell for just a little bit longer as we're going to a break, and we'll see you guys very shortly.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
White Pulse took a commanding victory in Game 1 on Sanhok, but it can all quickly turn around when we go over to the snowy hills of Vikendi. And that's where it gets very interesting because, Larson, one of our big talking points is, right, everyone knows Erangel.
Yeah.
Most players and teams are very comfortable when it comes to Miramar. Vikendi, we've seen some teams love it. They understand, they've got a better grasp of how it plays out.
I feel like Vikendi's kind of hit and miss, though.
Yeah, it's like we kind of get a 50-50 split on it. And then Sanhok is like one where it's never been really one team constantly stands out, but at least in what it's shown us is the teams who just overall rotate better. The teams that understand how just proper Battle Royale works, proper PUBG works. They're the ones who still, even on these maps, can always come up with a good win or a good performance overall. And if you want to see where the current standings are, guys, you can head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com. You can also subscribe to the YouTube channel for all the VODs and all that good stuff. Maybe you want to look at some of the other regions. Maybe you want to see more of me and Larson. Hey, why wouldn't you? Come on, it's a lot of fun. We've got Makars in here. Well, we don't get Makar this time.
We'll get him next week.
Yes, there we go. They made it through, so we get a little bit of fun with it as well. And that's one thing, right? We are loving what we're seeing here from the PUBG Mobile teams. We're having a lot of fun on the broadcast, but also there are teams now where we're really seeing it and saying, okay, you guys are serious. In comparison to some other teams that are good, but they've not kind of figured out on the same level strategy-wise, rotation-wise, and actually understanding how they want to play as a team, as a unit.
Yeah. And one thing you really need to do in Vikendi, and especially, you want to play as a unit.
Yeah.
The most effective way we've seen people win these games are literally by getting in your vehicles, breaching compounds, and taking team fights. I think that's how we've seen the most success of Vikendi. And if you don't have the confidence, if you can't fight as a team and keep your members alive, keep your vehicles alive, then your possibilities of winning on Vikendi is very, very small.
Yeah.
So I would say
think that's a
Vikendi,
problem.
like more than any other map, you really need to have the teamwork, just because if you want to really thrive on it, you need to be confident in breaching compounds and winning those team fights.
And that's what it comes down to. We've seen many of these Vikendi games end within the compounds at the end, and actually a team that's been able to hold on to it for so long kind of actually ends up getting picked apart. It's not a guaranteed sit in the compound and win, because there are teams that are a little bit more confident here to say, you know what, we are going to roll up on you. We're just going to literally drive in and go and take the fight to you. And sometimes that's what it takes, because you catch them by surprise.
Yeah, and here we see a nice plane for pretty much all the players. It goes almost right through the middle, a little bit off to the west, but if you have a looting spot here, there's pretty much a guaranteed chance you can get to there. I guess we'll see how the split goes. Do you have a favorite spot at Vikendi, James?
I love Dino Park. You know me. I went for that over and over again. We haven't seen a Dino Park ending. We got close on one game, but I think overall, right, both Vikendi and Sanhok is, for me, a very different dynamic on how I approach the game.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
What it comes down to is, I know it's a little bit smaller and I can get away with a little bit more. I can also pressure teams in a different style, and that's what I like about it. It gives you a different dynamic, and this is the second Vikendi circle we've had that has been literally far down at the south, over towards the west, and now we're sat here in a pretty dire situation for a lot of these teams that have gone up towards the north. These rotations are going to be a cluster of chaos and drama.
I'm just going to say thank you, James. You're the one who said Dino Park.
So now it's my fault.
It's your fault, 100%.
Cast the curse. No one even dropped Dino Park. Come on, guys. Give me something. Give me a bit of Dino Park love in here.
One team that's loving life gotta be OMGG. They're right now at the center of the zone. And if they loot up quickly, they can decide to do some split in some of these compounds and try to take a lot of ground if they choose to.
Yeah.
Here, Hayro doing winery. All right, I like this spot, right? Really good loot, decent rotations. I think they're also in the zone.
Now, we talk about Hayro. They're a team who is potentially on that elimination gap. They have to have some really strong games. This is their time to do it. You've got the zone. You've got this extra time. You should be able to deliver now. And also, for OMGG, this is where I want to see you guys prove to me that you do know what you're doing when you get a beneficial circle. You should not be letting the ball drop here. You should now be saying, all right, we got the spot. We've got a very central position. We can look at how we think it may be going after the second circle pops, and then we can say, how do we now maneuver and ensure that we always have a compound going forward? Because there's a lot of space to work with here. And they can get that space for a lot of the teams that are up in the north.
Yeah, and one thing I do want to point out, and I want to see teams do more often, is leave the city that they drop in, right? Because not a lot of teams, like, they don't drive into other cities because they don't know. They're hard to clear. So if they leave the city, take some compounds, all right, if it goes back there, you can potentially always go back and take it. It's very easy to get in and out of cities. So even though you land somewhere and you're in the zone, I want to see you move out, take some compounds. And look at this, Arrow Square and Kingsman. It looks like they hurt each other. And now we have, I don't even know what you want to call this kind of, like, I guess we can call it a camp off.
A stalemate, that's what
No, that's a camp off. Whoever can camp the most right now. Right?
Harb versus Kingsman. I like it. The question is, how quickly do they try to back away out of this? Because no one wins here. Yes, you could potentially get a kill or a knock, but you take damage. Again, we talked about it being early on. These are not the fights that you want to be taking. And look at that. They have both moved away. And actually, they've both just given each other massive amounts of space now, which I'm down with. I'm not going to argue against that. I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, it's fine, right?
Our lovely Kuma, who started off the very first game we saw of them on Vikendi doing the 1-1-1-1 split. This time around, they've grouped up. They've been listening to you, Larson. They've said, okay, Larson, he seems to know what he's talking about when it comes to PUBG. I can take his information from the stream. We can also improve ourselves a little bit, and we will show that we are not just a one-trick crazy pony on terms of the strategy of no strategy, or we don't really know passiveness to a degree.
Here we see White Poles and Magic kind of facing off. I mean, all the Magic guys are just holding, and it looks like Glass here, he's just looting up. We don't know if he's aware. I mean, we'd assume that he knows that the Magic is in the vicinity, but he might not have the information as to where he is. He does have the backup of his teammate's Frost, as it looks like he's on this roof, just looking down the side lanes there. And I love Budbuster. I'm the guy who loves to drop Puchingi, Bootcamp, Mikado, etc., etc. And for me, Budbuster is like kind of unique in the sense that the layout of the city is very different in comparison to a lot of other cities. But it's smack center of the map, and you can kill off everyone quickly, and then you can go for all the airdrops, get all the action in. And this is strictly just from a public point of view. In competitive, I haven't had the chance to play it at all, so we're learning together, James, how competitive Vikendi is being played out. And it does make sense that some of the conclusions we come to is also how it plays out. Just because the fierce terrain on this map. If you're new, you just tune into the stream, Vikendi has a lot of big open area here, and then there's a compound. And it's so hard to play the open terrain, because if there's one compound close, there's another compound close. And all these compounds, they can just lock down all the open terrain. So people actually want to play compounds a lot more here than on any other map.
Oh, Grozny able to do some damage there. Finds himself the first knock. One of his teammates has already been eliminated, and he's got a teammate currently knocked as well. B13, the Golden Boyz, they need to be able to hold on to this position, but TQ are applying the pressure, and a very interesting setup from the TQ players. Kingsman still not been eliminated, a bit further away. Grozny's tried to sneak out a bit, firing off some shots, but PRZ, he's able to reply instantly with the UMP in hand, and he's able to do some serious damage. Apologies, wrong record in hand.
Just to break down what happened in this fight, TQ, they were together as a 4-man team.
Yeah.
They had each other's back. When they got knocked, they could make sure that the Kingsman there couldn't move out, and that's why you want to play together. I mean, it doesn't matter. If you're the best player in the game, you'll probably get taken down in that situation when you have 4 guys just holding you down. As soon as he peeks out to shoot, somebody else has the angle and will just take his head off.
And that was great for them as well, because no one got eliminated in that fight. They managed to hold on to what they have now, and they can just continue to move forward. And they're looking to take down further players. B13, they were trying to get the res off, but Graham, he didn't have his teammate fully covered.
He's
and
pushing
Carrick,
alone.
He's going for it. He wants this. This is very risky that he could get taken down and kind of go against what we were saying, right, Larson? In that, like, oh yeah, play it together, play it smart. Graham, what can he do here? He's under pressure. Shots coming towards the tree. But Carrick maybe buying some time here, using the rock very smart, waiting for his teammates to come into it. Graham taking a few shots, trying to make it work. Bit of a crazy firefight going on. Who can land the first shots? Carrick seems confident. He's on top of the rock. He's hitting some shots. Slight damage being done there. Graham needs to be careful. B13 would not want him to go down early on. Spraying it out, a lot of damage, the rapid fire's coming in. Carrick knows they can only hold on for so long. His teammate comes in from the side, and TQ play it well.
Yeah, I was a little bit critic. He did wait for his team to come up, so he didn't keep on going in, but well played by TQ, taking these like split engagements, right? Carrick was there to begin with, but he knew that he knocked Kingsman earlier. He immediately turned around, saw that he's being rested, knocks him again, and then he just, bought time for his team to come over. Really well played by TQ here, showing some signs of life. Here, M19, they're chilling. This is fine, right? You want to have these compounds. I mean, One thing we've seen a lot on Vikendi is the first couple of circles, 1, 2, 3, 4, they kind of centerize, so everybody's kind of good. If you take a compound, there's not like on the edge, you're more than likely going to be in for the next few couple of circles. But once that 5th circle hits here, it's going to be very, very chaotic. That's when it starts to hard shift, and that's when you see some of these teams be in a lot of trouble.
Now, I really want to see how White Pulse is going to handle this game, right? Because we spoke about OMGG, who have a great position. They're in the circle. They've got plenty of time to play with here that you can see on your screens now. But for White Pulse, you didn't get the benefit of a circle. We praised your rotations already on multiple occasions. What can you do here on Vikendi? Because honestly, I'm going to come out here and just say it publicly. I was telling you in the break, I feel like White Pulse today are at least going to get 2 wins just off how well they played that Sanhok game.
Yeah. A little bit comes down to circle, like always, to keep all your members alive.
Yeah.
But what we've seen from White Pulse, what I've seen from White Pulse is...
them driving off and already getting on that rotation. They're looking to push in.
Yeah, and they're a team that is not afraid to breach compounds, right?
Yeah.
Time and time again, when they play Vikendi, they're like, they just send it. If there's somebody in a compound, they're not afraid to go there. Yeah, you might die sometimes, but in PUBG, maybe in a lot of things in life, you can say, all right, I have a plan, I'm going to do this. And then maybe 8 out of 10 times it actually works. Then, you know, every once in a while you might fail, but that's okay, right? As long as you have the right idea.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like the execution had been wrong or something, but it seems like they have a pretty good plan on how to approach Vikendi.
And remember, failures are the biggest teachers. That is how you understand what you did wrong and how you adapt, how you improve, how you ensure that you come back stronger next time. And that's what it's all about, not just within PUBG Mobile, but honestly, guys, just in life in general.
One thing we didn't flame, I want to flame right now, White Pulse, they were all in one
I
vehicle.
want to flame right now.
They were all in one vehicle. We're praising them so much. Well, I take it back. You need to drive in more than one vehicle, White Pulse. You can coordinate it so you arrive at a combat at the same time. But if you blow up in a vehicle, you're not going to have a good time.
Now, I know you're critical of my decision-making that I would be the player right now swimming out to that supply drop. If you're OMGG...
But you're OMGG, you landed here, you know there's nobody around you.
So
you
can
could go
do
for it. Yeah.
There you go. So this is the
If I was
perfect time.
on OMGG right now, I'd be like, all right, team, I'll be right back, and I would just run straight for the airdrop.
Yeah, you just send one player out, right? You can support him, you can provide cover fire, there's no one else close by. That's a very great supply drop in the water of all, like, most of them are terrible. This one works.
This one actually works just because of the way they landed, the way they have control over the coast. But yeah, I agree with you.
Finally. Finally, it works. I can do it. Trust me, it never happens in my games. Mine are just out in the open. Everyone's there. Now, ASE. Really like what we got to see from them. They finished 4th last time around. TQ got to be careful here. They've got a bit of a rotation to make, but there's not a lot of space at the top of this northern part of the circle here, as they will start to make their move out. And they've got some vehicles to play with, 2 at least in one vehicle for now, so I guess there's another one nearby for the rest of the teammates to use, which is good. They've been able to split it up a little bit. But they're going strong. They're going to head straight into CZ potentially. When this is where it is scary for them, because you've now got a split in where your players are. And if you do get into this fight and you have to kind of take this engagement, you even need to make the decision of how do we wait this out for a little bit longer. And the circle moves once again. OMGG completely fine. And where is good old White Pulse that we were talking about? They were down, I guess, towards near where Magic was. But how far did they go in? It's Ultra, Flex, ASC, and OMGG who have got very good positions to play from.
I don't
2
see
supply
White
drops
Pulse.
in the water.
Am I blind?
Oh, they're on top of Magic. 13,
right.
that's them. So yeah, you can literally just about see him. So that means Magic and White Pulse might have a bit of a fight here, but they are one of the few teams over. And that's exactly what's happening. White Pulse under pressure. We see it. Couple of players knocked down. A couple of players going to be finished off as well. MG loving life, and it's Fear who's able to do a lot here.
I mean, they died right next to a vehicle, right? So they might have been caught out in rotation. We're not entirely sure what happened.
Yeah, they obviously didn't blow up to the vehicles because we saw it there, but this is crazy because...
We're down to 14 teams.
They're
we know
gone. They're gone.
They're fully gone, okay.
Yeah, White Pulse
and
is
they
ended.
were all in one vehicle. Ha! 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 What did I say, James? Okay, we don't know exactly what happened, but...
Okay,
Could you imagine they were all driving one vehicle, they pull up in Magic, and then they just lost the fight because they all got shot at the same car?
And this is the thing, right? I'd love to see if we can get a replay of it, because what would be interesting is to know from White Pulse's position how they approached it and how they kind of got themselves into this rough spot. So we see this go down. We kind of caught this part of the fight already. The interesting part for me is going to be understanding how they got picked out of the car, because they might have taken a lot of damage before they even able to hop out, right? That's definitely a possibility with shots being fired at them. And the thing is, they left the zone to rotate in before Magic did. So Magic obviously caught up with them in some way and got ahead of them.
We're not entirely sure what happened, but if they all got shot of the vehicle, I'm just going to laugh. So if you have 4 different vehicles, 4 different drivers, in that situation, you would only lose 1 player, right? He will blow up the vehicle, 1 dies, you have 3 alive. But I don't know. I'm not a big fan of having a lot of people in 1 vehicle. Sometimes you just don't get the cast, that's fine. But in this situation, I think it's just a choice. If I posted, right, they would have more than plenty of time to go around, search for vehicles, etc., etc., etc. So big mistake from iPost coming in here. And again, thank you, James. You just said a few minutes ago, yeah, White Pulse are going to win multiple games today.
Yep, I've jinxed the circle. I've just jinxed White Pulse. Don't worry, we've still got 2 more games. I'm confident.
You just need to say out loud now that Kuma is going to lose this game.
no. It's not happening.
The caster curse. That means they might win. Anyway.
I'm just going to keep my mouth shut now. I'm going to be playing it smart. I would like these teams to think, oh, this guy's really cool. We like this commentator. Not, screw him. He keeps messing things up for us. He's making our life difficult and we hate him.
I didn't mean it. I take it back. We do see all these teams here. This is going to happen for a little while longer. As the circles doesn't shift that drastically, but we do have a lot of water in, so teams are going to be really, really close to each other. Once the water starts to get out of the zone and these teams will have to move, that's when it gets really, really chaotic. Because when you have this much water in the zone, these teams, they're so congested. They're right next to each other. And when those rotations start to happen, that is when all the chaos starts, right? If you don't have a vehicle, and even if you do have a vehicle, you might blow up. If you try to run on foot, you're just going to get shot by multiple different teams.
That's the second time we've seen Real Coffin knocked as well, so it doesn't seem matter where they're going. They're walking into the fights. They're walking into a few problems.
Or maybe he's just over peaking. You know that guy that doesn't care. He's like, hey, can I have a first aid? Hey, can I have another first aid? Hey, you're not using your helmet. Can I borrow that? You know that kind of guy, James?
That might be me.
And then they're like, wait, you're just wasting our first aid. Stop peeking, dude.
Yep, I'm pretty sure that is 100% me. I'm the one taking all the damage. I get some kills, admittedly. Maybe not as many as some of these players, but I cost my team a fair few meds. I've had multiple teammates say to me, especially when they've just joined a random lobby, and they're like, no, dude, we're not giving you any more. Play sensible. We want to win.
The circle shifted. It was straight onto the center. There's still a ton of water in. We're going to have to see how that goes. Aren't we in circle 3? I could have swore we were in circle 3, but the counter up there shows circle 2.
We'll have to wait and see if they'll updates. I feel like we should be a little bit further on.
I'm pretty sure we're in circle 3 at least. But either way, we want to see people go for these airdrops, right?
Thing is, most of the airdrops have been in the water, which is less than ideal for some of these teams who want the level 3 gear to play off of.
I honestly feel like it's a robbery when they're this far into the ocean and nobody dares to go for them. And did you see who just got knocked again, James?
Real Coffin. He loves it. He's just me, basically.
I'm facepalming.
Hey, he's obviously confident enough to go into the fight.
No, he's wasting all the mats. Right. So the way he's getting knocked, he's in a compound, he's getting shot by a sniper who's far away in another compound, and every time he gets knocked, he's wasting armor, he's wasting mats, and you said it's like his fourth knock. So when they get into an actual real engagement, he's going to bleed out so fast that he doesn't have a chance of being revived. So there's kind of like risk versus reward, and there's really no reward. He's just punishing himself and his team because he's going to try to take off some of their mats, right?
But he believes he can land that shot. It just hasn't worked out 3 times in a row. So maybe after the second one you say,
one thing we're seeing here, though, is CZ they're putting right up to TRD. Do they decide to stop? No, they don't. They actually managed to pull out of it. But it did look like they were running straight into there. But it might not be the end for CS or CZ, as they could run into more teams. They're actually split up now.
And
not on purpose, but, you know, it happens.
A lot of teams now have these compounds. They have the areas they want to take within the circle or just on the edge of it in the likelihood of Kuma. And this is where we see teams now fighting for that little bit of extra space. You see them driving around and going, oh, no, there's a team here. Oh, no, there's a team here. And they're trying to avoid also taking extra damage, being picked off. And CZ, they're still sending it across the board. They're trying to find themselves a nice spot to sit in, while all these other teams are hearing what's happening and saying, all right, yep, we'll keep you at bay.
Hey, Coffin got some more guys to shoot at now, at least. With CZ just over to their other side now. I couldn't say which combat direction. I don't know. You see the Romanian guys here, they're chilling by the water. I believe the next circle should go away from water. And after circle 4 and circle 5, that's when it's really going to be mayhem. We won't even be able to say what's going on because everybody's going to be dying, pretty much.
Oh, yes. It's going to be one of those crazy games again. And I just got to say, Vikendi has given us some of these most amazing circles in terms of how the fights go down and how kind of the action it ends up giving us. Maybe not so amazing for some of these teams. They might not be a big fan of it. But for us, it provides the entertainment
A
we
team
love.
with your son on the screen, we're face-to-face. They're at our bottom of the leaderboard right now. They're pretty much rock bottom. They had a terrible first game. I believe they went out in 12th place without any kills, or at least not with a lot of kills. So they need to show up absolutely huge in these last 3 games if they want a chance of going out. This is like the last stand they have, right? And we see them all the way up to the north. They have so many teams right next to them in the zone and also outside of the zone. So it's not looking hot for them. They need to pull off a miracle here, basically, if they want to keep in it.
OMGG, Flex, and ASE have not moved and not been required to move at all yet, which means fully meted up. They've got the loot they wanted from their positions they were sat in. It's just a really chilled out game for them so far. But what they've still got to do is keep their wits about them. Because as this circle shrinks, more teams are going to get closer. While Magic, they begin to make a bit of a rotation here. But long-range duels coming their way. Ultra ready to fire it down. Ray, got to be very careful, finds himself knocked. And he was just trying to hide out behind his car, but it's not going to work here. And ever so carefully, a Sata sat there tapping away, able to do some extra damage. And Ultra here, they're going to look to just clean up on a couple of extra kills.
Magic also not looking so hot today. They did manage to take out our first place team from the previous game, White Balls, but they're getting picked apart on rotations here, and they already lost 2. A 3rd player get knocked. We don't know if it'll be finished off. Looks like they made it to safety in the compound, and they might actually manage to get a few placement points here, but it is so rough when you lose 2 members on a rotation, especially when you have so many teams around you. And if Ace have to go anywhere near Magic, they probably already know that there's just 2 players. And since they got the knock, they 100% know that it's Magic over in that compound. OMGG here. They're just chilling. They've been in the zone. The zone literally spawned on them. It did just go north now, but they're still in. They're loving life.
Now the Romanians actually firing off against Rosq over there. TQ's found them as well on the rotation, which is less than ideal for those. But they're trying to find a bit of space again, and this is what it's really going to come down to. We spoke about how viable compounds are when it comes to Vikendi. Yeah. We're running out of them straight away. Straight away as I'm dying slowly here.
You okay?
Try to stay alive.
That water. Face to face here, they need to make their way in. Another team that needs to make their way in is our square here, but they're getting fired from multiple different angles. They do get the rest off here, but they're in the blue. We're almost into circle 5. This blue is going to start hurting a lot very soon. And you can just see Team 14 off to the side, holding them down. TQ is saying, no, not today. The team that has already 4 kills in this game, they took out B13 earlier. And if they can keep this team in, they could look at like potentially 8 kills already.
I fully respect the positions they're able to take here. And Rosq, they're taking heavy damage now. They're going to have to try and force their way out of this. Finally, OMGG are going to have to move. But also, look at where we've got space-wise. There is going to be limited compounds coming into this. It's going to get very scary for a lot of these teams. And finally, the teams that have had to be the most passive and just chilled out for now are starting to have to get their way into this game and actually have to be kind of looking around at, okay, who's placed themselves where now?
And this is when it starts to get really tough. All right, everybody had it easy for about 20 minutes, but this is like the real test, right? Who can stay alive? Who can win the fights? The team that is not looking very healthy right now is face to face. As one gets knocked by the grenade, another gets taken down to 50%, and TRD, they're holding onto their compound for now.
That was a really solid nade from Striker. He's looking to see if he can land another one. If he can throw the nade over basically towards the same location as before, the Molotov here is going to flush out one player at least. But if he gets another nade off, he could do some serious damage. His teammates are there now backing him up. And it looks like TRD want to try and take this fight and get themselves a hell of a lot of kills here potentially.
Was that Kuma just driving past him there? I believe it is. Kuma saw the new circle, immediately got in their cars and rotated. While face to face is still stuck here in the open.
I love that.
Luckily, like, face-to-face is not getting sandwiched right now, right?
TRD are just landing the nades. Over and over again, face-to-face are really going to struggle with this. Yes, they've got a bit of a ridge to work from here. They've got the rocks as well. But there's so much more cover for TRD, and they're literally just a firing squad at face-to-face. The moment they move, someone is there, someone's ready to take this fight, and they're ready to get some extra kills on the board. Now, what I love from Kuma is, many teams will try to third party and get the kills, but we know how passive Kuma are time and time again. What they've managed to do here is just sneak past the teams, and now they're in the advantageous position when they try to rotate back in.
Right, but even though they are in a good spot, I want to see them still be able to play aggressive from the spot, right? Now they have the position, now they need to be able to capitalize up and do what White Boss is in the first game, and slowly start to rack up these kills. Some team that's showing us some life today, Flex, they've been focused a lot more on positions rather than actually just fighting people. A change they needed to do drastically, right? They found themselves at the bottom. A team that looks to stay at the bottom is face to face here, as just falling over, more or less.
Hayro's got involved as well, while Flex, the heavily on the press, getting picked off by OMGG and Ultra from the side. More kills coming in here, and face to face, they're just going to try and back away. They need to stick together and apply the bandages, get some extra meds on, but he's taking further damage. They've gone on the hunt, and Striker believes he can get it done, tries to hide in the smoke there, and he somehow avoids being knocked down. Beautifully done, but he's got to be careful. And look at the distance! Oh my! Slumpy got himself posted up, sat there, comfortable as you like, and goes, oh, hi there. Boom, easy kill.
We did ask for Kuma to play more aggressive. I'm loving this, right? They got into a zone. Now they can take all this ground here and capitalize off other teams fighting. That's how you want to do it. That's how you apply pressure. And all right, they did get some trio favor here, but if they got lucky, they could have like thinned out TOD, and then TOD could have been down to 3, potentially 2, and then that would make their life so much easier in the future. And I'm loving to see like the change of pace from some of these teams throughout the tournament.
You can certainly see, right, that they're looking at what other teams are doing. They're seeing what's kind of working out and what's not. Also adapting on their own game, and that's what it's all about. We keep saying it, but consistency is so key in PUBG, and it's not like, oh yeah, you just got to have really good games every time. You can easily get in the top 10 placement regularly with a few kills and still be up there in the points, and still be ahead of a lot of these teams.
Yep. OMGG here. They're meeting the first battle of this game. They need to fight against the Romanians, get into the zone here. They might have waited too long, right? We can see other teams are rotating ahead of them as they're trying to fight Squad Romania. And the longer you spend here, the harder it's going to get, right? A lot of teams are going to get ahead of you in the zone. And the Blue's going to catch up to you eventually. And that when's Ultra, maybe Rosq moves close, and then we're going to get boxed in.
Now OMGG, 3 kills already, 4 alive. They're trying to gatekeep Romania from pushing in any further, but they're also going to have to move as well. And this circle damage at 6 is going to be so heavy. So MGG need to make a decision on how much of a risk is it worth it. Hopper again. He's loud, proud, and trying to do some damage, but he can't find the knocks. But he has done a lot of damage at least, which could cause OMGG an opportunity here now to lose a player potentially, or take some extra, maybe too much damage from some of this circle. And instantly they start to run back into it. But they're going to be running into a lot of teams, so many nearby, and only Tudor remains for Romania, with Misu just on the back lines trying to help him out here.
Yeah, and everyone is fighting now. After this zone, we're going to be down to at least top 7, top 8. All these teams are just trying to fight. Not a lot of real estate. There's barely any gun to play here, as we see CZ finding a member on 3 Ace here. Ace trying to smoke up, trying to heal up, but the Blue is back against the wall, and they have so many teams to have to fight through. First have to go through CZ, then have to go through M19, and if Ultra wants to get in, they can also get in on it.
So many teams as well only have a few members of their squad left alive, or they're fighting them knocked already. It is a cluster once again. Everyone grouped up, shots coming in across the board. Who's going to be able to take a dominant position? M19 have 2 compound positions to play from, 2-2 split going on, and they can just fire onto all these teams, and that's exactly what Thanos is doing, finding himself the knocks, looking to get the kills here, and looking to help M19 save themselves here on the final day.
M19 sitting pretty. They got another shift in them. They're looking really, really good this game. They need these points.
Sorka with the VSS as well. You love to see it.
Hate to see it.
If you're me, you love to see it.
But why?
Do you know what? I'm literally just going to play as much VSS as possible. Get a bunch of kills, just
let me just
screenshot it
tell
and send
you, right?
it to you.
When you're playing solo games, the VSS is great. You can sneak in it. But when you're playing squads games and competitive, it's not gonna matter if you're quiet, because your entire team is loud, and then people will always know where you're coming from. And I would just say the VSS as a weapon is not as powerful as, let's say, a DMR, a sniper rifle, or something of that matter. But it's really quiet. But it doesn't matter when you have teammates that are loud.
I'm just loving the solid snake style approach. I think it can work out, and I'm going to continue to prove you wrong, as are some of our players here. Even though you are right, Larson, you generally are right. Slompy, though, got himself on top of that rock. He's finally being pressured a little bit here. Kuma trying to see themselves in a nice spot. Nightmare needs to be very careful. He walks up, and they're all there ready and waiting. He's somehow able to survive. But they jump down, finish him off, and that's going to be very hard. Chills is now going to try and provide some extra cover fire here. They managed to get the refrag. Can he get this kill as well? That's brilliant. Chills does all the damage. He eliminates Kuma, and he puts them to bed on top of the rocks.
I mean, you're looking at me, James, but I'm like, Kuma, they were set in the open, all right? They have to defend one angle, and that's where the blue is approaching from, right?
Yeah.
And they were open to that angle. You really need to rethink that strategy, right? You need to take cover from where you're going to get pushed from. Otherwise, that happens, and they're just falling over, making it look like they don't know what they're doing, right?
Oh, yes, and that's the problem, right? They pushed in, they're very passive, but when the aggression happens, sometimes they struggle a little bit. As more teams are starting to struggle to find their way into this circle, dying out to the zone as well. Rosq trying to push forward, but they're going to be eliminated by Ultra. Nicely done from them. They're up at 5 kills already. They're trying to play it smart. TRD still within it. 10 kills and a dream so far, and potentially keeping 4 members left alive here, but they've got to be careful. That zone's coming in, and it's starting to push them around. A Nightmare is taking so much damage. He can't afford to take this. He's going to go down. A real easy kill for TQ, and sometimes you just can't play within that zone like that as he wanted to.
I'm so glad that blue generally hurts a lot, and he just found himself there in way too long. And TRD loses a lot of members who feel like they shouldn't have, just because they waited way too long to move out there. They're still in it. We're down to our top 5 teams. We have 15 people alive. M19 sitting pretty. They're still inside the compound. Ace is down to 1. Ultra, they've been fragging this game. We'll see if they can close it out. Another team that's been fragging is TQ. I remember they took down B13 earlier on, but I haven't seen much from them. They've just been able to rack up the kills. They're all 4 alive. They're sitting pretty. That guy had a tons of utility, tons of meds. But one thing they don't have is the circle, and they need to approach this compound right now, which might be really, really dangerous.
Thanos. So many bullets to just spray out into that smoke. He wants to click his fingers and make this game end and see his team win. And there's potential for him here. They've got a great position, way ahead of anyone else. More shots coming off, and Thanos, he's just lighting up the scoreboard as much as possible here. Does get knocked back down, but should be able to be saved. TQ trying to find their way in, trying to push in, and potentially take some space from the whole team of M19. And this is where the little split they do have could be a little bit kind of scary for them to work from. Now, they do also need to be careful that Champion, he's got himself some position, which actually could be a real sneaky spot for him to do some serious damage. The Molotov goes up high, and even though Gochi is low on health, he's still looking to make sure this is a rough ride for M19.
They're holding onto life right now, but we'll have to see what they could do. Somehow, TQ managed to get into the zone. They had to cross so much open ground. There's no way that you're gonna... Okay, I say that. They have 2 members alive. They're looking battered and bruised. But even then, M19 not doing their job of holding them away, right? They should have been easy pickings for M19, and Ultra is just helping them out here.
Yeah.
But now OG might be a spoiler, right? If they don't have the information exactly where he is, he can like knock 1 or 2 of the M19 members. And that might end up losing them in the game. Right now, it's M19 versus Ultra and the spoiler guy in Mochi. And we're 4 teams, so I'm missing 1 guy somewhere.
Champion over there on his own, ready and waiting. Question is, will the circle ever benefit him? Ultra, they did help out M19, but then they even picked off on the M19 players, which now gives Ultra probably the best spot to try and win out this game. It's all going to come down to how the circle gets restricted now, and it is going to be very difficult for some of these teams to decide, okay, do we get to sit here? Do we have to move around? And by the looks of it, it might be M19 that have kind of got it in terms of they won't have to move straight away. Champion's definitely going to have to get his boots on and start running soon, because that's going to do some heavy damage to him. And Ultra, they're just looking. Stark seems aware. He peeked into the angle. He's like, maybe there is someone left alive. He's trying to do the quick map. He's trying to understand that, wait a second, this might not be as clear-cut as we think it is to where these people are pushed, and that's exactly what happens. But it's Roji from M19 that does find that kill. Champion, he waited as long as he could, but he secures his team a 4th place.
And it looks like the circle is going over towards Ultra, so TQ and M19, they have to move here. And Ultra, they just have to wait this out.
Ultra's going in for the fight, though. They're hungry for the kills. They're hungry to do the damage. Play zone coming in. It finishes off the M19 players, and Ultra, they get it done. They take a win, and they get a hell of a lot of kills with it.
We're looking VSE 7 plus 4, that's 11. I think M19, they get 7. TQ, they were racking up kills, they end up at 9 kills. And this is pretty evenly spread. Looking at me very funny. Yeah, we're really enjoying this. Boom, 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 blah, blah.
I love the celebration at the end. It's just literally non-stop, just shooting away, trying to make it say, hey, look, guys, we did it. We finally got there. We got the win. And Ultra, they did kind of deliver there right at the end, right? You saw how they positioned themselves, especially on that final bit of the last 2 circles, was they took that house from M19. Now, M19 had a 2-2 split. They turned it into a 3-1 split, and that was the problem, because then they lost the kind of hold of an actual team unit, and then instantly they were at a disadvantage. Then the circle doesn't benefit them. Ultra's actually stolen M19's house away from them, and then we get to where we were.
Yeah, and Tier, TQ playing together as a team. B13, they get caught with their pants down because they were just split up. We don't know exactly what happened to White Bolts, but let's just say they got caught in rotation because they're driving 4-in-1 vehicle, and that's terrible. Don't do it.
I'll message Kailas after this, and I'll say, dude, what happened, man? Explain to me. I didn't see it. We didn't capture it.
Here, face-to-face, a team that I keep pointing out. They've had 2, I would say, bad games now.
Yeah.
They got like 7 points, maybe 10 points in this, if even. They're not going to make it through if they don't show up huge, like a mean huge in these Erangel games. They might potentially be eliminated. So we'll have to see what they can do. OMGG here, holding on to life a little bit. Ace had a really strong showing today, and I think they just finished in top 4 here. So repeat good finishes from them. What else? Kuma here dropping the ball, right?
Yeah.
They're just holding the ankle so poorly. I don't know what they were doing there.
For a team that pushed into the circle so well, and we praised how they were managing to do it, they were even taking shots. Slumpy was the most aggressive out of all the players, the rest of them a bit passive, but that's when it doesn't work. You can have one aggressive player, and yes, okay, he's playing with the snipe, but I mean, overall, he needs some backup. And so he went down, then the rest of them got pushed, and it was like, oh, okay, this isn't really working out now. So, Kuma, we love that you started to get a little bit more aggressive, but also, back your team up, back your boy, man.
But no, this was like just basics, right? Okay, we're in the zone. The blue's coming in. You need to have cover from the blue and have your eyes that way. And they're like just in the open, so anybody coming from the blue would have an advantage over them. That's not how you should play it ever. Then you need to reposition, think about what you're doing, right? This is so basic as it can be. This is some of like the first things you learn when you start playing public games. So that's a big mistake you make there. Maybe it's nerves. I don't know what it is. That comes. It could be a lot of things, but that's a mistake you cannot make, right?
And there will be a lot of nerves, right? Because we're getting to this position where we see some of these teams, some of these players say, all right, okay, this is getting tough now. This is maybe a bit more than we ever expected it to come down to. But there are so many opportunities, so many games for these teams to play off of. As we have a look at the results for match 22, 2 more games remain, and Ultra are able to take one of the 4 that were available today. 41 points in total. M19 not far behind them on 29. But look at that. TQ, 28, based on the placements and just the extra kills they got, making it very close, very competitive. TRD, they've jumped up right into it. ASE,
I believe
like
TRD, they were struggling for points as well, right?
Yeah, they were literally like, I think they were right at the bottom there.
Yeah, me too. So
yeah, they're 32nd at the moment.
They need the points as much as face-to-face to here, and at least have one decent game. But one decent game is not enough. You need to do everything you can in these 2 last Erangel matches. And here, Kuma, Romania, Magic. Not the best showings with them, but I don't know what to say about it, right? They're just falling short. It's really the basics. You just have to go over them, make sure everybody's on the same page, and then just keep it cool, right? At least for me, you play thousands of hours, or hundreds, whatever it is you do. You just need to remember all the fundamentals and then just pick them into use. It's like when you're driving a bicycle, all right, you're going slow, you go down to low gear. When you drive a little bit faster, you can go up in gear and so forth, right?
Now, for me, M19 potentially could have had this game. You had to take a gamble on which compound out of the 2 you think the circle's going to end on. You knew you had the circle position. But what they did was they didn't stick together as a team. So as soon as they split into that 3-1, you instantly give a team like Ultra a massive advantage.
Yeah.
And so even if it did benefit you on the circle, you're still down a man. And a team like Ultra, who was very kill hungry, as you can see, they're able to sit there and say, well, don't worry, guys. We're able to hold strong regardless. And I think M19, they're going to be happy because obviously it's still a good placement, still a lot of points. But it just could have been played that little bit smoother at the end. And that's the difference between your teams like your White Pulse, etc., who are there compared to your M19s. Because we've seen games where M19 have looked very strong, and we've seen teams where they've come up against them and just rolled the wrong dice and said, oh, okay, this isn't how we should have played it. Now, Thanos, only 348 damage, still did pick up 2 kills, but he was a man that every time we went to him, he was just shooting. He was always out that window, trying to pop off, trying to make it happen, and also keeping a lot of teams at bay from these compounds that they were securing.
Sometimes when you have these compounds, you don't necessarily need to get a ton of kills, but if you can hold people at bay, keep them away, all right, when you shoot them, then you funnel them into other teams and they will get eliminated, and just eases your life up. And that might have been what TQ were prospering from, right? We saw them get 10 kills, and maybe that has just put people in the direction of TQ so they can pick them off.
Now, remember, Ultra was also one of the teams that started within the circle, but they were more off towards the eastern side of it. So what they did was come in far west, and actually the circle just kept going further away from them. So they had to rotate very successfully on that as well. And once again, we see rotations being key and how it can kind of play out there. And Ultra, they weren't battling every single fight, but they were taking down the teams as they were kind of being dealt them, as it was like one by one making their way across.
Yep. And that's it for Vikendi.
Oh, yes. It's all Erangel, baby, for the final 2.
We have 2 more games left. After this, we're going to say goodbye to a lot of teams here. We point them out right now. The main ones we're looking for is TRD and face-to-face, right? And then everything depends. Flex, they're on the line, right? Before this game, they were in 25th. All right, so they need to also step it up. These 3 teams are probably going to be the one we're keeping the main attention on. Yeah. Want to throw it to a break?
Oh, yes. It's always time to go to a break after these games. It's Erangel coming up next, guys. 2 more games remain. 8 teams going home at the end of it. The action is truly heating up, but it's a lot of learning curve for some of these teams to have, which is the benefit of how this plays out. We'll be finding out who's going to be winning up on Erangel and who will be going home very shortly. We'll see you after this break.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
It's a wrangle from here on out, and it's the final 2 games before teams get eliminated. It's not going to be easy, Larson.
No. And we talked about this, right?
Yep.
We have a few teams that we're pointing out, and they really, really need to step it up.
Massively.
And you have no excuses, right? Erangel,
No.
bread and butter. Here, you need to know the entire game plan. You can't just say, all right, I don't have as much experience in Sanhok and Vikendi. Erangel, you need to be able to pull it off. It should be like a safe card, right? But I don't think that's a good excuse at all. You need to be able to handle the other 2 maps as well.
That's what I was going to come to, right? Is like, it's not only the fact that
No.
we've seen Sanhok and Vikendi a couple of times now, it's also the fact that some of these teams on Erangel, okay, we've had games where all teams have had a moment to shine and time to kind of go, hey, look, we are good. But if you've not been able to adapt by now and you've got the last final 2 games to do it, like
Yeah.
you were saying, you can't really change too much now.
No.
You may be having bad games today, and sometimes you've just got to sit there and think, all right, boys, stick to our guns, play what we know best,
Yeah.
and let's try and make it work. But sometimes even that is not enough. And this is where, at least for me, I'm looking at some of these teams and
Yeah.
thinking, when you come back next time, when you try harder next time, that's maybe how it comes. It needs to come into it.
But I just know from personal experiences, you're like, okay, we're going to try to change everything up now. But if you don't practice it and you haven't done it before, then changing it up is going to hurt more than it's going to do good, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, these teams, they're here for a reason. They qualified, and they probably played their own game. So changing things up too drastically might not be exactly what you need to do, right? So, I don't know. You need to stick to your guns. You need to be confident in what you do. You need to always be on the same page. And that comes along with confidence, right? If you have an in-game leading says, let's do this, and everybody does it,
Yeah.
then it might be a really good call. It might be a bad call, but as long as you, like, you know, do it together and you kind of know always what to do, right?
And that's the thing, as an in-game leader, you can't always make the right decision,
Oh,
right?
no.
There's so
you,
many
like,
factors that are
you can
involved.
make a lot of terrible decisions, but you might still end up winning if you can just outgun or out-rotate other teams.
And also, you have to have your team believe in the in-game leaders to the point where you say, no matter what he says, even if I don't agree or whatever, I'm still following that. Because first of all, that's his role, but also, it just shows that, okay, we've done it as a team. We've done it as a unit.
Yep. And here we see a plane favoring everybody who loves to go to the north. Some of the teams that enjoy the southern side, you know, maybe want to go for a swim down to Sanhok military base, they're going to have a terrible time. So they'll have to go into this small little river between Yasnaya or Georgipol if they just love that water. They could go up north between Severny, Sagi, Stalber. I don't know why I'm talking about water and swimming, because that is probably the most boring thing you can do in PUBG. But yeah, I mean,
you don't like PUBG Mobile Swimming Simulator 2019?
no.
We hate to see it. We don't want to see it happen. But sometimes we do get these crazy, crazy circles, and that sometimes is the way it goes down. But we're going to M19. They've gone for Komeshki. They jumped straight out there. They're going to be taking full control. Actually, there's not many teams looking to contest too far up the north. They're going to have a bit of space to work with. They'll be waiting to see where this first circle pops and how it goes down for a lot of these teams, but no one has opted to go as far as military base just yet. They might get a little bit closer to it, but multiple times we've seen military base be left alone, and M19 team can be pretty happy with that. Okay, circle goes over towards the east. Majority of the teams are within it. TQ though, TRD, Rosq, face to face. They've got a lot of running to do when it comes down to it. They have to hop in those vehicles and get a move in, but also find that space. Now, actually, for now, we're going to see quite a lot of teams potentially meeting early on here.
Yeah, at least we see Ultra +1 in Pichingi. We see 3 teams here in Yasnaya. There were multiple people around North Georgipol, maybe even going up towards Sagi. But here, Romania, we see them time and time again. They love these Yasnaya apartments.
Yeah.
But they're opting, all right, we're 3 guys who are sharing a building. We don't have the loot that we want. Let's just disengage and just loot up. Play it safe. You don't necessarily have to fight yet. B13 here, they're splitting around Rosq. At least to me, right? When I've looted Rosq, I'm like, this is not enough loot for 4 people. I want to be greedy. You need like school, you need Rosq, and maybe like some compounds around it to make it like really pleasant to be around. Here at 19, I like what they do. If you are on the start of the plane, you see that you can't go to one of the spots you usually land to. I think that M19 loots around the south, usually. They're like, all right, this is a bad plane for it. We see nobody has jumped, so we guys can go straight away, and then we can take Kamensky for ourselves. And that can work, right? It's really good to do, to be able to have multiple drops and be comfortable in rotating from different sides of the map. TAD here, they made their way to South Georgipol. Big splits here. Everybody's going to get all the loot that they want. Love to see it. Such a beautiful city.
Now, to give you some updates, everyone at home, is in terms of teams that have already been eliminated. So Ottomans, 23rd place at the moment. Obviously, they can't get any more points. They're in Group A. Then we've got the next team down, Esports EU, 28th place at the moment. They're in Group D. They can't get any more points, so they're going to be out of it. And also the final team to be kind of ripped apart in this is Asterion, that we speak about so often last time around. They ended up having a couple of games which were looking better, but overall it just wasn't meant to be. So that's 3 teams already decided out of our 8 as confirmed out of it.
And how many points does like face-to-face and tier D and potentially even flex, how many points are they looking at they need to solidify before they can get into the top 24 here?
So face-to-face need around 40, TRD need around 27. It's tough for a lot of these teams.
So
CZ
face-to-face,
they
need to win 1 big game, and TRD also need to win a game. And flex, they just need
kills.
2 decent placements, right?
Yeah, and Hayro, they're still looking at potentially being out. Flex the same, but it's a bit easier for them. They're only, say, 10, 15 points within it to try and grab themselves up a few spots.
You say easy, right? But there's always a reason why they're down here. And if they come into this game and these last 2 games knowing that there's so much on the line and they really need to do this, the nerfs start kicking in. And it's all on them, right? But it's 4 teams potentially that need to either get a win or have 2 really, really solid games here to make it all the way in.
And that's the thing, right, is we speak about the stuff inside the game so often, but for a lot of these players, being a pro player, part of it is dealing with the mental side of things, right?
Oh, yeah.
Keeping
the
yourself
mental side is
strong,
huge.
because you have to hold your nerves. You have to be able to focus on your game. You can't allow yourself to sit there and sometimes panic in certain situations. There's a lot more to being a pro player within PUBG than just being good at clicking heads and going around them rotating successfully.
Oh yeah, I remember one of my big tournaments, like it was a 4 or 5 day tournament, and the first day I played was like, it was really, really rough. And all I had to keep saying in my head was, all right, Larsen, you're actually pretty good at the video game. Stay confident, don't be afraid to take fights, just keep doing it, you know, warm up, and all right. So, you know, bad luck can happen, you can have a bad day, but that doesn't change anything. But if you let it get into your head and you get scared of taking these fights, you're not confident when you peak, and you get scared, that's when it's like starts going all downhill. And if you have that bad mentality, it's like a really bad circle, right? And some of these teams, they might end up making these mistakes because they've been a bit unfortunate. They lost a couple of fights. They're not at the level they want to be. And that really can pull you down.
Now, we just saw on the screen there, White Pulse, Romania, and CZ, all very close together, all got a bit of room to loot in, but that means there's a potential fight for them. Now, with White Pulse, yes, they've made it through. They're not going to be eliminated, but they did, after that very great game we saw to kick things off, they're going to want to be sat there and saying, all right, cool, we can still get a few more good games under our belts. We still can get at these extra points in there. They don't want to be going down without a fight like we just saw on Vikendi.
Do you think they'll die with more than one vehicle this game, James?
I am not talking about what these teams can do because I'm not going to curse anyone else. I'm avoiding it now, bro. I am making sure that I do not curse any of these teams. They can stay friendly with me, and then I can go, ha, I am safe.
But also, to be fair, we don't know exactly what happened to White Pulse last game.
No.
It might not have been the reason that I was mad at them.
Honestly, once the tournament's finished, I'm going to message Kaylas. I'm going to say to him, because the thing is, I don't want to message him while the tournament's going on. He needs to focus on the game. This is what's important.
Can you imagine he's playing and there's just Twitter notification popping up?
You got to hope he's turned off those notifications. He'd be like, why is Banks DMing me? Like, commentate the game. I'm trying to play the game. Don't ask me questions. And there I am, just like, hey, Kaylas, what the hell happened, man? No, but I honestly want to find out because it was quite interesting, and obviously we didn't see it, but how it could have gone down for him. Now, face-to-face, already on the rotation, taking a bit of damage from the blue. They're all the way over at Zaki. So they've got a fair way to travel, but... oh, dear. Okay. Oh, dear.
I was afraid for a moment there. They're all in one vehicle. They're super far into the blue, and they have to make it a long way, literally across the entire map to get in the zone. And if they flipped the vehicle there, that would have been a really bad time.
Lots is running behind Hayro saying, hey, wait for me. We've got to go in. We're doing this as a unit. We're doing this as a full team.
But this is something we're seeing over and over again. Teams are not prioritizing to land for vehicles and do that. So what you want to be doing, right? If you're looting a place like farm area, generically it doesn't have a lot of car spawns. So what you need to be doing is land around the farm area, go around the roads, know where the vehicle spawns are, and then bring them down to your area and then loot. But you need to contest those vehicle spots and make sure you have more than one vehicle to play with throughout the game.
Ultra, our previous winners. We've got a lot of room to work with here. No one to contest them just yet. ASE, they've sat in a spot at the moment where
They're
we've
in the
seen a
blue.
couple
What
of
are you
good
doing?
games, but they're just looting around the blue now. They're not bothered. Now, I know you hate the blue thing at this point, but for me, in phase 1, I'm not massively against this. When we hit phase 2 and they're still not moving, that's when I'm like, all right, guys, come on. You got to start making your way in.
But I just feel like, okay, when the competition starts to get harder and harder and harder, it gets a lot more tough to get into the zone and so forth. And spending 10, 20 minutes to loot, okay, not 20, but like spending over 10 minutes to loot feels like too much to me. You need to be able to be faster, be more efficient. I just don't think it cuts it when you spend that long time, right? All right, these guys were fighting, but I don't know, were Ace in any big fights? Were they just chilling and now they're slow at moving out? We do see White Balls taking some damage. They're in the zone for now, but this is probably going to shift away from Yasnaya. I mean, you never know. They're just barely in.
That actually benefits White Pulse here. So they're going up against Romania. They're close by. But CZ, they've gone out of it. And now they're going to be sat there thinking, all right, it didn't go in our favor. Now we've got to come back in. But they can avoid the other teams. They can take a little bit more of a eastern rotation back into it. And there is still a fair bit of space, especially over towards this southeast side, for them to work with it. So a lot of the teams, especially Ultra, for example, coming from military base, there might be room for them to sit in there and kind of wait it out. Because you can be not perfectly central, but a bit central east as Kuma finds himself in a fight against B13. I don't know what was going on there. He was just completely out on his own. Bultit's not going to want to play it like that. Kuma's still able to deliver some shots. Ramon's trying to fire back, but they're heavily under pressure now. Able to get one knock in. Can he get another one? Going in straight away for the finish. Kuma are hungry for some extra points, but this might benefit B13. They see him going for the kills, and the B13 go on the cleanup duty. That's Kuma eliminated straight off the bat here in the initial duel, and sometimes you've just got to wait it out. You don't have to finish him off. Yes, you want the one extra kill. But when he did that, he just allowed himself to be completely open.
James is just looking at my face and he just sees me like, what are Kuma doing?
Disappointment.
They have the compound and they're just running into the open one by one. That's not how you defend the compound. You use it to your advantage, make people run into you, you funnel them into you, and Kuma get taken out first. Once again, I don't know. If I were Kuma right now, I'd say, all right, in this next up-and-coming week, we're going to sit at least 4 to 5 hours a day, and we're going to play public games, and we're going to become the best shooters in this server.
Moloko is going for the supply drop in the water. The rest of Ultra have just heard Haypro's car, and if they're going to also go for it, this is crazy. They're all looking at it as like this could be a potential thing we want to try and do here. Hayro, are they completely understanding of that fact that Ultra have also gone for this? Because they're not firing off against each other yet.
It doesn't seem like they're aware of Ultra, and we do see that the rest of the Ultra team, they're down by the coast, just slightly to the north of them, and if Hayro's not careful here, they could get boxed in.
Did Moloko get a chance to loot it?
I don't think so, looking at the icon on the map, but I don't know. Hey James, VSS. Shame he couldn't kill anyone with it because he ran out of bullets.
It's a beautiful weapon. Leave me alone, Larson. I believe in the VSS.
I know. I'm just giving you a hard time.
Hayro, you need to make it work for me here, buddy. You need to try and make it happen.
Did he even bother reloading it?
No, not yet. Maybe he's given up on it. I'm not giving up on it yet. And you know who hasn't given up? Flex. They've seen that this fight is going on, and they're just going to run past in their vehicles and say, hey, we don't have to engage in this fight. You guys can battle it out back and forth for just a little bit. The thing here that's really worrying for Hayro is all of the Ultra players are alive. They have all the information on where you're sat at the moment, and they can just play the game with you because they're closest to the circle.
Yep. And Hayro's only here with 2 members. This is not like... I suppose they thought it was going to be free airdrop, but oh boy. I'm glad you didn't point out that he got a kill with the VSS. Thank you, James.
I'm just saying it, right? Because I know already. That VSS is legit. He's making it happen.
Flex is running into trouble here as they're running into the last remaining members of Hayro. It looks like... Is this the last member of Flex?
Wow. Yeah.
No. They have at least one up and they might be getting some restes in.
Oh, okay,
but Hayro were showing a lot of life here. But you can see they're down to 1, right? But Hayro's not pushing on this because they're so split. And now Flex might be able to get almost all of the restes back here. And Hayro, they're the big losers, right?
Yeah.
Unless you can manage to go in and clean up, I don't think we'll be able to. The circle has shifted really far to the middle, maybe a little bit northern side. So all these teams down on the southern side of the circle, they're in a lot of trouble.
Now TQ have made their way out. Hayro are trying to push forward, but they're running straight into Flex now. Ultra can also fire into this. So the third-party option is real. Moloko is still in the blue, though. He hasn't been able to rotate back out from the water and come up to the rest of his teammates here. Flex have a good position considering they've got the compound, and Hayro just running at him. But the shot's coming out. Andrew Lime out in the open, and this is what Flex can't afford. They've already had a couple of members knocked down and had to revive him. And Phantom, he knows he's got to make a power play here. It's him and Levi with Andrew Lime knocked on top, and it's all going to come down to a matter of timing. And Ultra, they've got in their vehicles and they're saying, you guys, you fight it out. We're going for the circle. We're going for the long game. We want a couple of back-to-back wins potentially.
And both these teams, Hayro and Flex, they're not in the relegation. Like, they need to get points in these last couple of games. And they're fighting in the blue in Circle 2 or Circle 3. This is not where you want to place yourself, guys.
They've got Grenade. You could barrel that out. All of the players from Hayro are very close together. Levi going for the big balls play, running around the side, going to come out into the open. He's ready for it, but real confident. And Lutz, they're able to splat him down. They spray him as he comes out. And that is not how you want to play it. Hayro trying to hold strong. They've got a lot of damage. 2 players knocked at the moment, but it's not looking good for Flex either. This is just a waste of both teams' potential to get these extra points and have this confidence that they can make it through to the next stage.
Yeah, literally both of these teams, they need points to get into the top 24 and not be removed from the tournament. And they're caught fighting in the blue again and again and again. Both of these guys, they had the option to disengage from this fight, but one went for an outdrop and the other guy stopped to fight the guys at the outdoor, right? Really, really unnecessary, and I mean, we see them trading back and forth, but no matter what the outcome is here, both these teams, they're probably not going to make it now.
Hayro needed 10 more points compared to what Flex did. Flex can get away with it a little bit, but now they've just been eliminated. They're gone. That's 4 kills extra for Hayro, but still, that doesn't really benefit you unless you get a good placement off this. You're still in the blue. You've got a lot of players taking damage. You've spent a lot of meds and utility. We watched the smokes get used as well. This is a rough ride for them, but also White Pulse. 1 player dead already. K-Last is knocked. Frost and Kozak, they're just holding point at the moment, and they've got Rosq right in front of them.
But they do have a very central position here. I say that, yoink, hard shift to the south.
You cursed it this time. There we go.
I was just stating the fact. But yeah, they were looking really good. And now they have to move. Now they can't just sit there and have the standoff. They need to do something. Not good for White Pulse, but ultimately, I want to say it doesn't matter, right? They're safe, they're through. They can literally do whatever they please. And M19 up from the prison hill, taking shots down to our square, getting a knock here, getting a little bit of a break to White Pulse, but...
Now both M19 and Ultra once again find themselves rotating very well into these circles, and they're looking in a good position already as we're at phase 4. Play zone def coming out for Hayro, which is less than ideal. Coming around, spraying all over Kozak. Damage being done, and they will be able to finish off the White Pulse team. Frost is trying to stay alive, but how quickly can they reply to him? That's him down, right? Yeah, it's gone. White Pulse out of it. Oh, that was a bit confusing.
I think that White Pulse is going to win at least 1 more game today, James said. And now they've had 2 terrible finishes. Oh no, hate to see it. But that's White Pulse out. Again, I don't know what they've done wrong, but they're probably all right. They can come back from this. A team that is not doing so great over here is Magic. They've had a really rough day today. They're in 20th position. They're not in the biggest sphere, but if some of these teams here manage to get a lot of points in the next 2 games, they could potentially get eliminated if they don't step it up.
Yeah, there's about 20 points that separate Magic from other teams that are facing elimination here. Anything can happen. 2 games is certainly enough points if one of these teams have a really good performance, but it's the long game that's got to be looked at here, and Magic are still in it as of now. CZ, that's a team that's currently sat right on the edge. 24th place overall, 107 points with OMGG very close to them, the same as TQ. And TQ today, at least, they've stepped up in a very good fashion.
Is this M19 shooting everyone from the prison hill? They're getting a bunch of knocks here. We'll have to see if they can turn them into actual kill points and finishes. But M19, they're just sitting on the prison hill having a free fire gallery onto everything that moves in these fields.
Yeah, they're looking at this as a shooting range. There is only limited cover that these teams can find. They're all having to use so much utility to keep M19 away from them in terms of just shooting them down. And they are gatekeeping on the highest level right now. They're going hungry in for these kills, and they want to make sure they pressure away these teams from even coming to try and challenge them for the position.
Yeah, definitely. Some of these teams here we're watching out, it hard shifted onto the south. That means none of them would have to move. So this is definitely the more quiet side of the zone. Everything that we see dying, it's up on the northern side that it went really far away from. And CZ, they're like, yeah, whatever, man. Don't take my points, I'm just gonna die to the play zone. I'm not sure entirely what happened there, but CZ goes down to the play zone, loses at least another 2 members. Square, they're still in the boot, they're trying to make it in. Looks like they got a knock onto one of the M19 members, so they're getting a bit of a break running in here. And I'm surprised to see that M19 is not going up to rest him. Why is M19 staying at the northern side of the zone here when they could have rested their team member by now? Interesting decision here. It looks like all of Square, they're fine, they're dandy, they're gonna make it in for now. Yeah.
Andy just by the skin of his teeth, but Mellow and Harb, no problems at all. Instantly get in the first aid kit. It's time to med yourselves up and try and fight back. But M19 do have a high ground position to fight from.
This is a really interesting scene or zone that we've seen. It went all the way to the western side of the zone. It takes pretty much all of the compounds out, and people will have to fight in the hilly forest of Erangel. There's
Now
a few of these towers in.
Yeah, this is interesting. Like, you got Carrick all the way over on his own. 2 in 1 unit together, and then a solo player. So 2 solos and 2 players stuck together. It's going to be difficult for TQ, especially as I said, right, TQ is a team at the moment who are quite close to making it in and avoiding this elimination already.
Yep, they're in 26th position, but you never want to be 1-2-1. In my opinion, you want to be at least 2-2. And if you're inside these towers here, you have the safety that you can rest if you're taking engagements. But when you're alone, you just... it's really, really bad. So I want to see them group up together, especially since we're approaching Circle 5. We can be more greedy in the early game, but when it comes to the later stages, you need to play as a team. And we see Fear, he gets taken out alone, while the rest of his team is far away from him. Again, I want to see teamwork, James. A lot of these guys, they just get caught alone, and then you don't see any response. It does look like that the rest of Magic might have moved on to a bike or another vehicle and have left. But even then, it hurts to see it, right? Ace and Ultra, they're battling here. Ace have had a fantastic day today. They've had a lot better day than we've seen thus far.
Yeah,
Nate's
really
raining back and forth.
This little firefight going on Ultra. For them, it's not a big deal, win or lose overall. They've had good games, they've put themselves in a good position, and they are fighting for survival, but at the moment they are within it. And they're 7 points ahead of the closest team to them, who also can't get any more points because it's the Ottomans from Group A. And at least now for Ultra, it's like, okay, if we can get another good placement here, we've had nice circles this time around as well. That's going to be key as TQ. Carrick, he's up on there. He was also one of the solo players, but he's able to find one at least.
Yeah, like you mentioned, TQ, they need to get all of the points they can here. They're showing some promise. Another team that's doing good, Ace here. I say that, and I think they're down to just 1 member. I take it back. They're not looking hot, but
they were heavily under pressure.
Okay, they're down to 2, it seems, and half a knock. But they're gatekeeping, they're finding the kills. TQ, they're just racking up the leaderboards here. Training a little bit back and forth with Magic, but Magic, they're bruised. They're down to just 1 member, so... I say this, they're getting third party by B13 now. Asa here loses another member to OMGG in the blue. And I believe we just saw OMGG getting taken out here.
OMGG go out in 9th place. 8 teams remain. Ultra have got 3 kills to their name, 1 player down, but they're on the hunt for the rest of these ASE players. 1 is knocked, and Big Easy's coming up to see, okay, look, I'll try and get this revive off. Luckily, got a bit of a ridge to fight from because it's more of an uphill battle, but if Ultra decide to march on over it, he'll find himself in a sticky position to try and hold strong from. Now, M19 up with 4 players. Romanian has got 4 players as well. TRD out with 2 by the looks of it, at least for now. We've got Nightmare very close to the ASE players, and did he potentially spot them doing that res?
I don't think he spotted the rest. They've seen the new zone. They probably decided that, all right, we want to go in early, but I think that's the wrong call here. If you move in too early, everybody can see you, right?
Yeah.
You need to use the blue as a safe zone that nobody can be behind you, but when you go in a little bit too early here, they might be able to stay alive with the smokes, but...
There's not much cover at all. It's B13, 5 kills already, and they're looking for more. They're actually firing off onto Ultra as they're starting to push their way in. That circle's going to start doing some serious damage as well, as M19 are now under pressure. It's the Romanians able to deliver it to them, and there is battles across the board here. This open area of the map is going to rely on the trees, the rocks, and any vehicles that are left.
Yeah, you see TD, they're down to just one guy, and they're going to be finished out here. They go down in 6 blood. 7 spots, sorry. Romania, a team that we've seen struggle a lot on other maps. We're good at Erangel. Ultra here. Oh, kind of whiffs a little bit, and TQ managed to get the hit of it. They're still staying alive. They don't have a ton of kills just yet, but getting these placement points here is huge for them. And if they have a good game here, they should be through. So this is potentially do not die for TQ, but they can solidify themselves here if they can stay in the game.
Nicely done. TQ will find the finished player on Ultra. That means Asarta's the only one left alive and instantly found, dominated by TQ. That's 4 kills for them. 3 players still up and running in it, and only 5 teams remain. Good opportunity for them to try and work this out here, but the problem is, where they now have to move out, they run out of cover. They've got the vehicle still that they can push forward. There's a couple of smokes down, at least for now. Supply drop may seem tempting for some, but it's a big risk if you want to try and go for that now. B13, they've just been non-stop firing. 8 kills already, and they're looking for more. It's TQ this time that they're trying to shoot at. Oh, they found him! ASC, Biggies, his position is known. The shots come out, and he will go down. That's his team eliminated. He tried to snake it up, but it wasn't meant to be.
No, and B13 and Romania, the last 2 strong standing squads, they're in the position to win this. We'll have to see, can Rogue be a big spoiler 21? Will TQ come in and strike, wait for these 2 big teams to fight each other? What is going to happen? But we have 2 formats, we have a duo and a solo guy remaining.
And Rogi, could he be that guy for M19 that gets him an extra set of placement points by sneaking up and causing a nuisance to some of these teams? Could he jump up at the right time and take some of them down?
It looks like he's been spotted. He was down to half HP, and Romania's squad is, you know, approaching his position.
Oh, he does get found, but he'll let himself die out to the play zone. He denies an additional point for the team Romania, who are now working their way up the hill. They can see the win potentially in their sights, and they now need to deal the damage onto B13. Rosie trying to use that car for some cover. Missy's going to be the first one going down, but it's back and forth as Dark Angels ate the bullets from Hopper. Nades going out. This is going to be huge. If Rambo can land any of these, and he's just barreling them out towards them. Grab's able to find one of the TQ players, but these nades continue to drop down. The car blows up. The second nade finishes him off, and Romania are looking to deliver some serious damage to the high kill team of B13.
One team we haven't mentioned is TQ. They need to come alive here. They know there's 8 people alive. Teams are fighting. Knocks back and forth, back and forth. You do not want to lay prone here. This is your time to strike. You can secure yourself one more placement and potentially win the game. But I think they're just laying prone.
The Molotov goes up, and these grenades being so well placed. Kingsman's just burning out, has to prone down. This isn't going to be good. Dark Angel gets knocked. Hopper onto Kingsman. Romanian, they are making it work. They are getting it done, and they are wanting to finish this off. They want a big win here. 2 players left alive for B13. The revive is going to try and come in. The smoke's providing a little bit of cover. TQ still chilling in the back as well. And this is it. TQ, they've not jumped up. They just want this fight to go on. They want to try and take that second place, potentially.
For some reason, I thought they're 2 alive, but they're down to just 1, which makes it a little bit different, right? One guy might not be able to solidify them as much, and now he's just hoping that B13 gets taken out before him.
And he's been completely forgotten about. They literally just don't care that he's there. More bullets being fired off. The nades continue to go out. The Romanians, they are just shooting non-stop. Dark Angel finds himself knocked down again. A revive is very unlikely. He's being eaten up. He is being ripped apart. And B13, Graham, he is doing as much as he can to keep them at bay. But he is heavily outnumbered, and he is certainly outgunned. The res is going to come in. Miss is going to be brought back to life. And this will give Romanians a chance to just push forward and find him through that smoke. More shots coming in. TQ, it's his time to see what he can do. Can he get any kills? Can he potentially bring himself up? He finds one onto Rambo. How much more can he do here?
Either way, huge game for TQ. With this second place and 5 kills at least, they're going to make it in, right? This is it for TQ. Romania, they're already in. We know they're going to win this game. That's why I'm highlighting TQ.
And that's it. It's all about the survival, right?
Yeah.
It's about how many points you can get now. Gochi, trying to play as smart as he can, but there's only a little bit of room he can have behind that tree. The Romanians take it, and they do it very convincingly. Smart play there. They took the challenge against B13, and they dealt them a lot of damage in terms of grenades and solid utility. 2 Molotovs that went down that burnt out players, and also the grenade usage was just on point. We were criticizing some of these teams for crazy usage of utility and just how kind of lackluster it had been.
Yeah.
But over this week, it has definitely improved.
Yeah, and also being able to have that much utility at the very end of the game, that's very, very uncommon. But
Yeah.
Romania, they've been able to just maybe have long-range engagement and using the utility to really close out this game without even breaking a sweat, right? They got a few knocks, but they never got out of control. Here we see Kuma, right? He has the compound. Why are they just running out in the open one by one by one, getting picked to pieces here?
And this is where B13 was able to get the 4 kills to start things off with, and they just continued it from there on. They were just getting as many kills as possible, trying to make it look easy for themselves, and hey, that's going to help them massively going into it. TQ, though, like you said, they were on 101 points before this game started, and now this should see them jump up to at least like 20th, 19th place potentially.
And this fight, I'm just facepalming at. I just want to call it stupid in the sense that these teams, they're both facing elimination and they're fighting this early on in the blue. There's probably a reason why they're down there, and I'm just going to be honest and say, don't do it, guys. You don't get that many points for the kills. If you really want to make it through here, you have to focus on getting into the zone at least before you try and fight. You can't just... Like, this is circle 2. The circle is so huge. You should be able to invite people to at least make it into the zone. And if you can't do that, then you don't deserve to move on. I'm just going to say it. And it may sound harsh, but that's just the way it is.
Sometimes you have to be harsh, though, because the thing here with Hayro and Flex is, like you said, both of them are facing elimination. Going up against each other in a fight that actually wasn't very beneficial to start with, there needed to be someone to make a decision. Let's back away and get out of this. But instead, they stayed there. They wanted to take the fights. They were both playing very cocky and aggressive against each other.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be a position where you have one more game of Erangel left to try and get those additional points to avoid elimination. You've made this very difficult for yourselves.
Definitely.
Not a fan of it.
No. One thing that did make it difficult then was TQ. They were really greedy in the sense that they were split up. They took a lot of control over the zone.
Yep.
They didn't manage to close out the game, but they got a second place finish, and that's all they needed, right?
And here you have it. Romania. They walk away with 38 points at the end of that. 30 up for B13 Golden Boyz as well. 27 for TQ. What a way to get that done as well, right? M19 up in there once again. So that's a 2nd place and a 4th place for them now. Plenty of points on offer. Rosq, now this is quite interesting because Rosq, they are within it at the moment, but this has probably solidified it for them. They were on 118 before this. Now you add 19 to it. It's a little bit more comfortable. Ultra. Now, Ultra is actually 22nd. So this, again, just these extra points, it's helping them because we saw the win come out from Ultra. Now you've got the additional 15 points. This makes it a little bit more comfortable. TRD, though, currently down in 30th
10 points
place.
is not enough for them.
10
really
was not what they needed.
No.
It needs to be... And the thing is, normally, if we were in the beginning of week 2, or just halfway through week 1, and they were getting 10 points, we'd say, cool, yeah, it's not too bad. Crack on with it.
There's one game left. We're not at the beginning anymore.
Exactly.
This is do or die, and they only have one game left. Some of these bottom teams literally need to pull off a miracle. They need to win the game. They need to do it with 10, 20 kills, and then maybe they have a chance. But you can't win if you fight people in the blue in zone 2. At least it's not very common.
No, not at all. Now, look at it in terms of damage here for both these teams. Pretty even. But overall, B13 was able to nab themselves a few more kills in there, but only walking away with 3rd place from that smart play at the end there from TQ, keeping the solo player alive. He jumped up, even managed to get an additional kill onto them, and he proved that, okay, sometimes snaking can work out, especially when you're heavily outnumbered.
Yeah, I thought TQ had 2 members, right? So I was like, all right, now's maybe the time to strike if you want to win. But when you're just one guy, then, yeah, you just hope that you can get one high placement.
And when you are just the one guy as well, right, against 2 teams who have got pretty, it was like 3 and 4, right, in terms of 4 for Romania at the time and 3 for B13.
Yeah.
The moment he shoots, they're all like, oh, hi, focus fire, and then he's dead. It's like, oh, okay. So he made the best of a bad situation there.
Definitely.
But I think now for a lot of these teams is, yes, you've got it, and we're on the last game. This is how it's worked out. But I think we can be critical, but the good thing they should take the criticism of is, okay, you've got this far. You competed. Now it's how you improve going on, because some teams are going to be eliminated, some teams have to go home, and sometimes that's just the way it goes down. But it's more what you can do if you come back for the next season and say, well, we've worked on it, we've improved ourselves, and now we're ready to deliver the level that we expect ourselves of. Because you can be disappointed, but everything is a learning curve, like we were saying earlier.
And maybe some of these teams are new to it, right? They don't all have to be like super professional, played this game for years. But maybe like, hey, we actually got to be part of the best 32 teams in Europe. That's pretty good. And we didn't put endless amounts of effort into it. Just imagine what could happen if you actually decide to put serious times into it.
And that's it, right? You say like, oh, we've got years and years of experience that can come in from other games, for example. What they're doing here, this could be some of the early starting of their career. This is the thing. This is the time to show yourself and say, hey, look, we are a good team. We are more than capable. We can get it done. Now, I know one more game means a lot to some of these teams.
Yeah.
But my God, we have to see completely different play styles from both Flex, Hayro in there. There are other teams that are really going to be out. We'll update you guys when we come back.
I'm not optimistic, but yeah, we definitely need to see some teams step it up if they want to stay in here. And I thought, like, it didn't look like they needed that many points today. So that just means playing it safe in a few games. But somehow they managed to keep getting caught out early, game and again.
It's just the way it goes down sometimes, Lars, and that's just the way it happens. One more game and 8 teams will be going home. It's crunch time for multiple teams here for our final day, and let's see how it's all going to unfold. We'll be going to a break, but when we come back, you won't want to miss the final game. Will we see one of these teams step up, or will it be the same old faces? Only time will tell. We'll see you soon.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.
Zombie, Darkest Night, the newest mode in the zombie universe, is here. This time, the rules are different. No more parachuting, as players will be placed at random locations on the map when the match begins, and there is no single winner. Players must work with their teammates to spend one long night in the match and stay alive until the sun comes up. Waves and waves of zombies will spawn during each of the 3 foggy periods at night, and supplies should only be scavenged when the fog fades. The main objective is not to defeat other players, though this doesn't mean they are harmless. Players may need to work with other teams when necessary, but should also watch their backs in case the Fragile Alliance goes south. This will be a unique experience for every player involved. This new mode also comes with a passive skill for every player. Understanding these skills will be the key to staying alive in this long night. Can you ride out the night?
It all comes down to this, and it is not going to be pretty for some of these teams. The standings are right to the wire as expected, and unless we see some crazy good performances out of some of these teams, it is going to be that elimination time.
Yeah, and you just mentioned to me there's so many teams that are looking at being thrown out of the tournament here. I say thrown out, I mean it's ultimately their own fault. In the sense
yeah,
that
they didn't do anything wrong, we just went, see you guys. It's like, actually, you didn't get enough points, you got to go.
And you mentioned to me, it's like, I'm trying to remember here, TRD,
Yep,
Hayro,
yep,
Flex,
yep.
Face to Face.
Yes. Asterion's in there as well. They're definitely
But they're
gone.
already out. They're
Yeah,
not
they're
playing today.
already
I'm
gone.
like, these are the 4 teams in this lobby. And unless I think all these 4 teams that I mentioned right now, if they don't pull out something amazing, like get 30 plus points in this game, they don't even stand a chance of getting in, right?
And that's the problem. Now, if you guys want to see the standings and actually get up to date on everything and where we are at right now, you can head open to the clubopen.pubgmobile.com, and you can also subscribe to our YouTube channel. And the reason we keep saying to subscribe to the YouTube channel is because you can see more of our beautiful faces and the other commentators across the other regions. There is so much PUBG Mobile action going on for this $2.5 million that is on the line.
Yep.
It is not just big money. This is a big way to celebrate what PUBG Mobile has become and celebrate these teams taking part to actually show us what it can deliver on a global esports level.
Yeah, and we've seen a lot of these teams. They're coming in prepared. We've seen a lot of teams improve so much from week 1 until we are now. And it's such a big chance for these guys to actually get to compete, get good practice in. I can say when you scrim in a video game, all right, it's not that serious. But when you put the big money on the line, you're in front of the TV and everything happens, that's when you really start to see people try, right?
Yeah, and it's a whole different kind of mentality when it comes to it in terms of you play your public games, you play them with your friends, and then say you go, oh, actually, I'm going to go compete now. Then maybe the friendship can be one thing, but you need a good squad alongside it, right? And that's where you see the team changes come in and things like that, like we were speaking about before, where you could potentially just start up your own team and it just be friends from school or whatever, for example. It's very easily done, but as you work your way up, as you get better and you level up yourself, you might find yourself drifting apart from that. But it's all about what do you want? Is the end goal to be the best player in the world? Is that what you want? Or you want to be on the best team in the world?
Exactly.
You've got to set yourself these goals to say that you can get it done. And potentially, one of our 2 European teams that will eventually make it out of this to get to the whole global finals at the end of it, right? Because we'll have the regional final, and only 2 teams will make it through. And that's tough, man. That's like out of how many skilled teams we have?
32 teams here, and getting down to a top 2 is actually insane just to think about.
Feels bad for some of these teams because, like, there is actually so many teams that I would say there's 4 teams for me, and I'm not going to name the names, but there's 4 teams where I go, okay, you guys are almost in certain aspects a step ahead of the rest, which makes it a little bit more scary that only 2 will go through. But they get to represent Europe, they get to represent an entire continent and say, this is what we've got to offer. This is how we're going to try and play it out.
To me, it's a little bit too early to name teams and even say maybe a top 2 or top 3. Because, all right, we've seen some of these teams be really, really dominant. But that's also while we have maybe some teams that are not as good. But getting rid of some of these teams now, the competition is going to be a lot harder for these teams. And naturally, when the competition is harder, you're allowed less space. You're going to get punished easier. And some of these teams that might have had a really easy time thus far, they might have to change a few things to show that they're actually the best, right? And they're not just like preying on those that have been performing poorly.
Now, in terms of how the planes go, it's always a bit of a rough ride when you see this one. There's not going to be many teams being able to get to where they want, especially over towards the northeast side. But we will have plenty over towards military base. We're going to have no problem for the Georgia Bowl teams. Even if you want to go to Zaki, you can really try and stretch your wings and go that little bit further. But it seems like all the teams are out and ready to take their spots. And this is where some of these teams will have to change their style up for this
and
final
look at
game.
this in the military bases. What I'm seeing Flex, I'm seeing Ultra,
VSS.
and I'm seeing one more team.
Oh, yes.
All right, we've determined that VSS is better than a guy with no weapon. Gotcha. No, I'm just kidding with you. Sorry.
How dare you say that about my blessed VSS?
It's not okay. So the thing is, VSS is not bad. I just feel like there's always a better option.
Like the Mini 14.
Actually, sometimes it depends, right? The situation, I'll probably take a VSS close range.
We've converted
Blam,
him, boys.
blam, 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 blam. Full auto VSS. All that.
See? I love it. You're understanding, Larson. I'm converting you to the ways of the VSS, but who might not get converted here is some of these Ultra players, as that's instantly going down for them. Cust ready and waiting. He's trying to crawl off and get away with it, but it's not going to happen, and Flex are looking to put an end to Ultra on this final match early on. This isn't what they would have wanted. They're running into all the fights. He comes out swinging, but he's not going to catch anything. All he's going to see is bullets flying his way, and that is Ultra down and out of it instantly. Flex do the damage. Flex get all the kills, and that is what Flex needed. They're 27th place at the moment with 96 points. The next team closest to them is 110. If they want to try and jump in to a position where they can still avoid elimination, they need to reach 112 minimum points here. And that's if CZ don't get any. Oh, Flex, you've started things off the way you need to continue it,
This
but
is
is it
so
going to be
weird
enough?
to me, right? Sorry for interrupting you. TRD and Flex, both at the bottom here. Why are they hot dropping each other? There's no reason for them to sabotage each other.
Well, I think the problem is where that circle went and how the planes worked out. Normally, it was only Ultra going military. So
Yeah.
they've all decided to hit military because
No,
of
it's
how it's
Flex, right? That's military team. I
No,
believe so.
Ultra.
No,
Ultra were there,
Flex.
yeah, Ultra were there last time.
No, Flex put it last time. Flex is always in South North Island. That's all I know. All right. You're saying no.
100% Ultra last time. 100%.
Flex was on the island. That's all I know. All right, I'm opening the VOD. I need to figure this out.
Hey, we can check it back at any point, but either way, right, what we saw from... Remember we saw from Ultra, they actually went across and they went for that water fight and then ended up having that battle.
No, that was Magic and it was Flex. No, it was Hayro and it was Flex. That Flex, they drove over the bridge. Okay, I know. They were Ultras at Yadrop. I agree with you, that one, right? But Flex, they were also coming over the bridge and they were the one that fought Hayro and died early.
Yeah, they came over late, but the problem is those two teams, TRD and Flex, do not always drop military. And then you had 3 teams in military because of this plane. And that now becomes an issue for both of them because, again, like you just said, they both need the points if they want to avoid this elimination. So if they end up fighting off against each other, it's less than ideal. At least for Flex now, you've taken down Ultra. Okay, it was quite easy because a lot of the Ultra players didn't have weapons, for example. But now you need to continue this on.
M19 driving into OMGG here. The OMGG guy is very, very alone, and Rosq has teammates kind of nearby.
Taking some damage there.
And once again, these guys are fighting so far away of the zone. You mentioned that OMGG, they haven't solidified their place, right?
Yeah, they're 25th at the moment with 112 themselves, so similar as CZ. So they're not guaranteed it. If they go down early, it's game over.
So these guys, they need the points.
And this is a team that Flex need to jump over, so this would be huge.
Yeah. Hopefully, OMGG can make it out of this alive, getting a shot of making it to the next stage of the tournament. Even though they don't win it, right? Just being able to play for another 2 weeks, it's so much good experience. And probably the best experience they can get, right? I don't know how active it is and how many people is allowed into scrims, right? We have 32 teams here. A scrim can only have 16 people. But just being able to play here might actually just solidify how well you can do in the future as well. We see White Bulls. I was wondering where they was going to go because last game they were looting Yasnaya.
Yeah.
The plane was really southbound and they decided to rotate all the way up to North Georgia Pole. It seems like White Bulls is a team that just want to loot up, have all the tools available and then rotate into the gold a little bit later on, right? They're taking their time looting up and then they're happy. Let me see. Wait, Hayro started in Middelta. They fought B13, disengaged from the B13 fight, and now found themselves next to Kuma. Interesting.
It doesn't matter where they look or turn, they seem to be finding teams to fight, but they have to take these engagements very carefully, and depending on what loot they've got so far, it might not be the easiest battle on their hands. As we look at what Lut's going to do, he's obviously been able to hear some of the Kuma players, but they need to approach this successfully as a team. Or he just ends up backing away. It depends where he wants to go for it. He's pretty split up from his teammates.
We don't know if the teams are as aware as we are right now, right? We don't have all the information that they do. We don't know if Hayro have been in the firefight. But it looks like Kuma saying, all right, we should just get out alive. We want to focus on playing as a team. There's no reason for us to take it 2 versus 4 right now, which is perfectly reasonable. White pause, there's no looting. Blue's coming in. They're going to have to move out soon, but since the plane wasn't that good, they arrived late, and you can also just stay a little while longer. Magic here. 3 guys, Mendacia. It happens. They're near Rosq and the water town, slowly making it in. Kuma, where's this? This is, I'm trying to think, it's Primorsk, right? All the way on the east coast. No, it's not Primorsk. It's called Lipovka.
Lipovka.
Lipovka. See, this town is way too small for me. I would never drop here because I can't have that many people to kill.
This goes to tell us exactly how you play these games out.
Yeah, I basically just die instantly and then queue in again.
Solo players from Larson over and over again. Now, in terms of what we're going to see here from a lot of these teams, the ones who are so much right, they're in a position where they're not going to be eliminated, they don't have anything to worry about. Like your Ultra, for example. Now, this was a problem, right? Because we said about Ultra in terms of positioning. They weren't actually that high up. They did now move up to 20th. They've got probably a stretch of about 20 points ahead of some of the others. So they should be fine. But in a wild world, something could really flip on its head and all these teams step up that do remain. Probably not going to happen, but there is a possibility. So going out this early on, they're going to be sat there and going, okay, look, we're pretty much guaranteed. It would take something incredible for us to really go out of it. But they won't be guaranteed, say, to hold on to the position they're in as of now. Now, White Pulse, they've gone out early the last couple of games off the back of their first win.
But you did promise they would win another game, so this is White Pulse's game right here. I believe in you, James.
You keep bringing this up, and you keep trying to throw me under the bus, Larson.
No, I'm just... I mean, you called out Kuma, right? And they did amazing. So I'm just trying to actually make you look good because White Pulse are going to win this game.
There we go. So you understand now. What also is going to happen, White Pulse is going to have 4 VSSs, and that's how they're going to win.
Is this why they've been... Okay, never mind. We'll just leave it at that. I was trying to make you look good again.
Now, Rosq, massively in the blue. OMGG, though, before we get into that, getting themselves into a firefight with TRD, and this could be TRD seeking elimination. They're trying to battle back against this. It is quite good, at least for now, for TRD. They've managed to hold on to it. OMGG, is that them eliminated? Is that all of them down? That's them out of it. Oh my, OMGG. It is game over. They will not be getting any further forward. I just
noted this because look at Flex and F face to face. They're both at the bottom 8. Why are they fighting this early on?
Flex have been fighting non-stop. They're looking for more. Andrew Lyman's found himself in a rough spot, but can the rest of his teammates hold on to it? They're going to try and pull off the revive. They've managed to get rid of this team as well. Face-to-face are out of it, and Flex, they just keep meeting teams, and all of a sudden, they have come alive and said, you know what? It is time for us to make this happen. We do believe we can get the points we need, and we do want to avoid elimination.
They should have 8 kills already, which is kind of huge. But if they keep battling teams outside the zone, they will just be so far behind all the other teams that they don't have a way into the zone, right? Everything is just going to be taken already.
So that's 8 kills in total now for Flex.
Yeah.
That puts them only 8 more points away from taking over the Ottomans team. But then the rest of the teams they can try and leapfrog here could actually see it be working out quite well for them. So there is still potential for Flex to make it. They're not fully gone and down out of it, but they need to have a game where they're also getting these kills plus a good set of placements.
I know. I just want to see them fight for something and not just seeing people and like, hey, we should kill these guys.
Oh, something moved. Shoot it.
Yeah, that's not the way you play competitive PUBG anyway. Public games, that's the best way to play in my opinion. Anything moves, push, push, push. But sadly, when I play public games, I'm not competing for $2.5 million.
No.
That would be fantastic. Can we make that happen?
I don't have an infinite amount of money, but I might talk to my investor friends and say, hey, yeah, can you just give us some money for public games? Me and Larson are ready. We just want to make some bank real quick. Now, what I love, by the way, is you've got to give a big shout out to the Star Ladder observers here, because Star Ladder obviously running the production and everything. They've been rocking it for us to enable us to do our jobs, but they are closely following these teams that are looking to potentially be eliminated. So we're having a look at what TRD are doing, who have only got 2 members alive. They're down in 30th place at the moment. We've seen what's been happening across the board there for a team like Flex who's trying to engage with some of these teams. So we're understanding what's happening. We saw OMGG go down, and now they are the team that has been eliminated. There's no safe spot for them anymore. They're back to the drawing board.
Another team that is looking not to make it through. They're getting a gift here from the airdrop guard themselves, dropping full level 3 and 8 times, and the Mark 14. And I mean, sure. These teams are literally looking at a win with high kills to make it through. One team that have not had a good game today is White Pulse. They keep getting caught off in rotations. I mean, they had a good game, but I mean, they've had 2 really rough games in a row, Jim.
Yeah.
And it just seems like they're getting caught in rotation after rotation. I don't know if they're being too greedy, they're not scouting, or they're like, all right, we made it through, we're just going to relax. But this is something that is a bit worrisome, right? We did praise them for having really good rotations and so forth, but...
Flex again. They're back involved. They're taking down M19 this time. Flex, they're able to do so much damage. And seemingly, when the pressure's been put onto them, they've just come up and said, we will do this. We will make it work. They're just eliminating players across the entire map. Every team they've faced, they've just run over.
All right. Flex, they want to not be
Flex.
eliminated, and they're showing up. Interesting to see, though, how they're playing it. I do not agree with their style fighting in the blue so much, but, I mean... if they make it work, they make it work.
Flex are looking to make it work, potentially looking at 12 kills here if they eliminated everyone from the team of M19. Vikendi XS, he's sat there, avoids the first nade coming out. Him and Frost are the only 2 left alive, I believe, for White Pulse. Magic's trying to put the hurt on him. Sade needs a revive coming his way. Good cover with the smoke, which is at least going to hold him strong for now, but it will slowly fade away, and they just need to get that revive off and fall back and decide on how they want to actually approach this fight. As Flex, I can see 3 of them, 4 of them now.
There's 1 on the minimap, but I like how they're split, like literally just all 1 by 1 by 1 by 1, and looting now. I mean, Mills has already been looted, I believe, by D13, and they won't probably find a lot, but...
White Pulse again, they can't catch a break.
On another rotation, they were disengaging from the fight this time around.
Yeah, they wanted to get out of it. They didn't want to sit there any longer. They were trying to say, look, we're not going to have a last 4 games and only have 1 solid game and then be eliminated early in all the other ones. We want to kind of try stay alive and continue to fight forward, but this isn't happening. They've struggled so much on these last few games. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to curse you.
That's all right. It only works one time in a
tournament,
tournament, right?
You'll say it's all right like you're them. They could be sat there going,
That's fine.
"That Banks guy bigged us up after the first win, and now look what's happening."
That's not your fault. They just need to look back at their rotations. All right, they've probably over-rotated, right? Here, you can scout, you can see there's maybe vehicles. Whatever you do, you can even play the terrain. There's only circle 2. You don't need to have a super central spot, even though it might work out for you.
Flex again, this time onto Romania, but Romania are giving them a bit of a firefight back. I'd love to see where this is going on, because this could be rough for Flex. They cannot afford to lose too many players. They are actually able to put Romanian players in the grave. Can they get the revives off as well? I'm literally just commentating from the scoreboard, and we finally get to it. Oh, they're going to be able to keep 4 alive, and they found 14 kills already,
I was just about to say.
Flex are making it happen. This is unbelievable.
Okay, this is something you've never really seen before, okay? We're 15 minutes into the game, and they have 14 kills. All right, if they could just get 1 more kill, I'd be happy, and then they would have 1 kill per minute. I don't think I have ever seen that ever before.
Okay, without
actually
placement
insane.
points, without placement points, plus the kills they have already, they'd have 110 points. This pushes them into 26th place. If they can get any more points in terms of kills, they're potentially able to jump up to 23rd and secure themselves away from elimination.
How many points did you say they need now? Additional?
3.
3 points only? And they're in?
Yes, but there's still other teams within it who are still alive now, like CZ. So if CZ go down here now, that's really good for Flex, but obviously it's not good for CZ. OMGG's already gone, which is a huge win for both these teams. And CZ are completely pinned down. They've just got containers to hide behind. Magic are looking to apply some huge pressure here. Some of them have taken some damage, but they've got the ridge to work the advantage from. If the nades went off here, it would be huge. And they need to make these nades land, but it's just not close enough yet.
A little bit too far here to throw the nades. CZ, they should be in a good position here to hold off Magic, as, you know, the blue is going to push Magic away. CZ just need to bide the time here. One thing that could be a big problem for CZ here is if Magic decides not to move with the blue, and they just have this standoff here. It's just going to hurt both the teams. But we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. The blues coming in ever so slowly now. And it's Magic's turn to make a move first as they're further away from the zone. Is this a third party coming in?
There must have been obviously one player or two players left alive of M19 because they met up with Flex and Flex dealt a lot of damage towards them. They've got a card to play with. Magic trying to make that work as well. Two players already gone further forward. Master needs to be very cautious here. CZ are going to be still stuck within the smokes. They can hear the cars going off and they're going in for the shots. They find the knock onto Master, but can they pick up the kill? And it's kill points they desperately need here.
The Sounder slither of HP, and with the backup of M19, Magic honestly managed to get out here with 3 alive. That's a lot better than I foreseen.
And he's just spraying it out. There is Thanos and Hate Hope still alive for M19. So 2 managed to escape the grasp that Flex had over him. And Flex, truly, the best performance we've seen is when they've been on the brink of elimination. They obviously needed a kick up the butt to say, okay, guys, it's nearly game over with. Oh, and they're getting more kills. And this is on to TRD, who is pretty much certain for elimination now.
They're just not having any of it.
Where was this Flex, though, in the previous games, Larson?
I mean, the problem is they're obviously doing it this games, but I still feel like their strategy is a bit flawed when they're fighting that much in the first couple of zones, right? I want to see them fight, and I know they're great at it, but I just want them to do it later on into the game, kind of like in the sense that White Post, like, all right, they fight for a compound, and then they can win out the game from there.
Is this a problem now with Flex, right? If they do really well in this game, for example, and then they go, oh, this works, and they try and do it over and over again, and then we just see the same problem happen next week.
James, learn from your mistakes. There's a reason why Flex is in relegations right now. All right, they're having a fantastic game right now, but it's... All right, I've played this game a long time. I've seen a lot of competitive game from player, no Battlegrounds, and PUBG Mobile now, and it's just... No, it's not the best way to approach the game. There's no way you can just keep running over teams, and having 14 kills after 15 minutes is absolutely bonkers, but I don't think it's something you can repeat very often, if ever.
Now Flex have Rosq and CZ close by to them. The circle shifts all the way to the east, up towards the north as well. White Pulse, Frost, who I believe is on his own here for White Pulse, is just about inside of it. ASE is as well. M19, it's worked in favor of them.
So I have a question for you. Do you think Flex is happy with circuit updates so they get to go and fight more people now?
Yeah, for them that is like, it means we get to run at people some more. All guns blazing.
No, they're driving.
Why not? Uh-oh.
Actually looks fine, right? We saw on the minimap briefly that the southern side looked relatively clear, and they might have been able to scout that ahead of time.
CZ still picking up some knocks though, and they're going to do it onto Rosq. Comes on the floor. Melo's able to fire back a little bit here. He's actually able to do some serious damage. Can he pick up any more? Levi's in it as well against ASE. Flex, they're just rolling up on teams once again. Where has this level of play come from? Flex is doing what they've never been able to do before. They're up at 18 kills, Larson, and we are only 19 minutes into the game. There are still 10 teams remaining. I want to see them get
more kills than minutes played. That would be absolutely ridiculous. And we do see CZ, probably the only team that could deny Flex's stream with the momentum they have right now. They're under a lot of pressure, and we don't know how long they can stay into this. I'm
doing the quick math. I'm trying to work it all out. They're up 114 points. They're currently in. They would currently be safe if CZ get no more points.
But you have to keep in mind that they're also getting placement points this time. There's other teams they could go through.
And CZ's still within it as Rosq, they've come alive now. They dealt some of the damage onto CZ, but it seems they backed away from that fight, and now they're going to find Flex as well. They get the knock onto him, but they won't get the finish. Rosq still up with 4 members. Did they actually eliminate CZ? That's going to be interesting. I wish we could see a bit deeper into the map. Oh, this is so chaotic. How did it even get to this? Rosq fighting on the edge, trying to use the ridge to their advantage, barreling out nades further forward. ASE stuck in their compound, already lost 2 players to Flex. The Molotov's going to go through the window and force Flex to move a little bit, but not out of the compound just yet.
Just biding their time. All these teams, they're in the zone. White Post, the last guy remaining there, he's been able to snake away from CZ. He was in between CZ and teammate here. So M19 and CZ, they didn't find Frost. He's still chilling. And so far, we actually have so few teams alive for this far into the game. Literally just Flex have just been killing everyone, almost. This is so uncommon, right? We're down to 26 alive in only circle 5, soon to be 6.
Flex have dealt serious damage, but they are truly fighting for their lives. This is not going to be easy. CZ have only had 1 kill thus far, but they're in the placement points, and it's really down. So what Flex needs to happen is either they eliminate CZ or CZ are eliminated by someone else for them to really have a good opportunity here.
One team we haven't really pointed out is I see Kuma's in 23rd, and they have almost... Are they far ahead or are they like in close position?
7 points ahead of CZ at the moment.
And I don't know how Kuma is doing. I think they're already eliminated, right? If they're still in it, Kuma?
Kuma's still within it. So the eliminated teams at the moment, as it stands, without any points from this game,
but no,
is
I mean, if
OMGG.
both CZ get 7 more points and Flex also get the points, Kuma could potentially be eliminated, right? I don't think they're still alive within this game. Maybe we shouldn't do the math right now.
Now we're going to look at Magic Sade on the replay. Gets himself 1 at least.
Yeah.
B13 looking to rotate with the vehicles and get themselves some high ground as they're pushing up around. Flex are currently up with massive amounts of kills and still going in for fights. They're playing this as a team. They're looking to spray it out. Oh no, B13, they've given Flex another opportunity, and that's going to be very difficult, but Sade's able to steal the kill away. Vital kill points that Flex need. There's so many little positions they're trying to fight from. CZ also now in this position. CZ, Rosq, B13, Flex, and ASE all within just walking distance of each other. As Flex, Levi throws out the grenade. He finds the knock. Can Cuss get it in? That's another kill coming their way. Dark Angel bites the dust. And Flex, they are unrelenting with this aggression. Kill after kill.
I was hoping you were going to do the really silly pun and say they're flexing on their enemies. I'm glad you didn't know. But this is honestly a crazy performance out of Flex. And if they can close out and win this game, that would be even more unbelievable. What else are we looking at here?
Frost, solo man,
He's
snaking
right
it
on
up.
top of...
Who's going to see who first? Oh no, that's it. 8th place for White Pulse, but they made it through anyway. They were right at the top of the scoreboard, I think in like 4th or 5th place overall. B13, just 1 player left alive, all on his own. This final part here, the 4 compound areas we can work from.
Yeah, and one thing we haven't talked a lot about is Hayro, right?
Yeah.
They're also at the brink of elimination, but if they manage to get a few kills here and win out the game, they might potentially do a lot of harm here.
God, yeah. And that's why they're chilling so much.
Yeah.
They're focused on placement points. They're not even looking to engage. Flex knew that placement points alone aren't going to be enough.
Who knows what happens here? I guess we'll see soon, as a lot of teams are starting to have to move out here. The circles rank towards the lumberyard, and everybody who's not inside has to move ever so close to it. I think Flex might have to change house. They might have to breach to the left of Ace or try to make their way into West Square. But Hayro is creeping up behind Flex, and they're truly running out of time. If I'm seeing this right, I don't think they're building us in. And they're literally surrounded on all fronts right now.
And CZ are going to have to move forward because of the circle before most of the teams. Grozny's gone down. That's B13 eliminated. 6 teams remain. And there we go. Cuss jumps into a car, but he spots Hayro running towards them. The nades are going to go out, and this is where Flex have to be careful. The pressure's being applied, and it's ever so careful now for Hayro. The nades coming out 1 by 1, throwing them across. But is it going to be able to land anything? The Flex players have kept themselves completely hidden as of now. Lutz is just hoping someone wants to poke out and make a mistake here.
Yeah.
Levi finds himself the first knock. Can he get the kill at all? He's got grenades if he wants to try and get the finish off. They can't afford for these kills to be stolen. They're at 19. Can they make it 20? And this is it. Hayro have 6 kills, right? But they need a lot more than that on top of the placement points regardless. They can't go down here, and especially they can't go down to Flex.
Definitely not, and this is so tough. And nobody else is doing anything. CZ here, they're not in the zone. They will probably have to fight against Rosq.
Oh, Custy finds it. He gets the kill. That's 20. It's a true waiting game. Look at that supply drop that's benefited Hayro massively. Look how it's landed as well.
I did see it. Hayro Fisher was the one to pick it up, but he immediately got taken down by Flex.
Lux has seen a bit of an opening. They're lining up for him. He takes a shot, but he isn't able to make it connect. How is he able to get that away? Andrew Lime, he's come in with it. Phantom's found himself knocked, but Flex, they've pushed out. They're hungry for more kills. They're trying to do the damage, but this is very chaotic. It's back and forth. Flex do manage to take the lead. They will eliminate Hayro, but at what cost?
Yeah, that was so unlucky from the Hayro player. He was trying to spray with the DP, but he hit the planks of the window and wasn't able to connect any of the shots, even though he had 3 players in his line of sight. Very, very unfortunate. And so far, everyone is still alive besides Hayro.
And CZ, they're
What a
still in
shot.
it. They're still making these huge plays. They found the Rosq team, who are really... Their compound is the most open of any. There's no doors. They've just got logs to hide between. They're having to use the utility as much as possible. The grenades going out.
Throwing that smoke there can cripple them so much. Like, it just means the entire left side of the tree planks here, you can't see anything, and then you're limited to only play on the right side. And teams know this. Like, if they have nades, they just want to nade towards where there's no smoke, probably, because that's where people will be peeking from.
Look at Levi as well. Look how close he's got to ASE's compound.
Oh, yeah.
Flex is trying to take control of it. They know they had to move. Custer's the only one who's still stuck behind. And he's only got a few seconds before that circle pops, and it's going to do some serious damage. Cuss cannot stay there, but there's going to be many teams looking to fire at him. CZ now know they have to go forward. They have to try and take this challenge. Thanos has found one onto CZ. This is M19 getting involved as well. They might upset CZ's opportunity here. Their chances are being whittled away. More teams going down, and it's Flex spraying and winning. ASE hitting the ground once again. They can't catch a break, and only one opportunity remains for CZ. Rain DX, he sat there on his own. He's prone, and he knows these placement points are going to be so vital to the potential success for them to qualify here.
How is Flex getting away with this? They're at 24 plus kills at this moment. Our square, they're finally moving up. They're coming alive. M19 is down to just 2. They're playing as passive as they always do. And this is ultimately down between Flex and our square. But our square has a really good bridge here, and this is like a normal universe. There's no way Flex should make it out of this alive.
Levi finds himself one knock. They're going to be looking for more. Rosq need to be careful. That circle is going to be restricting ever so soon. A few seconds remain for it, and this is not what they want, because this ridge is going to be whittled away ever so carefully. Nades going out once again. Cust, he's constantly firing, up at 7 kills on his own at the moment. There's 24 kills up on Flex as we speak. The question is, how many more can they get? They know that it is going to be right to the wire in terms of points, especially with CZ staying alive for the longest time and getting a fair amount of placement points as well. As they find Hate Hope, and Thanos is not going to be able to revive him. Thanos does reply with at least 1 frag, but is he going to get anything else done? Hate Hope doesn't allow him to get the frag either. He goes out to the zone. He just allows himself to die down here. Rosq need to make a decision, and they make the right one with finding the first knock onto Phantom, and now Flex are having to get the revives on. They need to bring these players back up. If Rosq attack now, it could be game over for Flex, and M19 can continue to just snake forward here with 1 player left alive. Will they be able to get the meds off? Another nade comes out. It's back and forth, and Thanos onto Rosq as well. He can upset the balance. Cust, he's managed to find 1 knock onto come. It's right between it all, and at Rosq, they're looking to come over this ridge and try and make it work. Cust, he knows this revive has to come in now. He's waiting for it, goes in for the fight, half low on health, but that's it. Flex have got most of their members on the floor. Only Levi remains. What can he get done here? He's going for extra kills. 25 kills up. They're not going to get it done. Rosq take the win.
What an insane game. Breaking it down to the wire. I want to take a moment of time to look at this. I don't think I've ever seen this many kills on one team before ever. 14 plus, what is that, 11, 25?
That's
kills
just
on one team. And this is a team that was at our bottom 8 before this game. They needed everything they could get, and they just said, no, we want to stay in this.
Larson, my mind is just blown. I'm so... If anyone who just followed Flex from start to finish of this tournament, you would say this was impossible. It's literally like they just said, wait a second, this isn't really happening. And they just came out as like some godlike team. We talk about Thanos on M19 having the Infinity Stones. Flex just stole it from them. They snapped their fingers and everyone they met just died within seconds.
And one thing that can be really good motivation, right? If you're behind and you have nothing to lose, that just releases you, right? And sometimes when you're really far ahead, like maybe whiteboards are like, all right, if we just play it safe, everything is good. But when everything is on the line, things like this happen, and what a game to finish off this week with 25 kills on one team alone.
The fact that Rosq were able to win it out, though, is just nuts, because realistically, their position on that ridge was awful. Like, because at first it was great, but then when that zone came in, it was like, okay, well, now we have to really poke up. We can't hide anymore. Flex had the advantage, but it was the utility. Once again, we have to keep talking about utility usage. In this last week, it became a true, like, defining moment for a lot of these teams in if we either win or lose games.
Oh, definitely. If you're in a hot spot, the only way you can get out in the late game is with a smoke. And getting an opening frag with nades, with molotovs, etc., even just doing initial damage gives you so much space. And that is ultimately what can win you a lot of fights, especially in the late game.
Oh, this was just the most insane game to end this week on.
Definitely.
An elimination day of that, Larson. I won't be going to sleep for a long time because I am hyped beyond belief. My heart is pumping. I want to know who's made it through. And you've got to be Flex right now, crunching the numbers, sat there going, did we do it? Did we not? Has it worked out? 47 points total, 25 kills for Flex.
But one team that might not have done it now is Kuma, right? If CZ, you said they needed 7 points to overtake them, and Flex with 47, that's two teams that have overtaken Kuma, potentially.
Flex
I don't want to say we should do all the math here.
No.
But one team we followed closely throughout these last 2 weeks have been Kuma, and they might have
just dropped off.
I was trying to say a word like saying that they did really bad today, but I couldn't find it in a nice way, so I'm just saying.
You just said it. Kuma, 4 points. The dream could be over, but it could be back to the drawing board, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
No.
There has to be losers, there has to be winners.
Definitely.
This is just the way it works out. But I think for Kuma, it was like at the beginning of today, you'd be feeling very confident. But so many of these bottom place teams, just out of nowhere. And that's what I love. It's this 4K damage. That is the most damage
I
we've
remember
seen.
you 2 days ago, you were like, you need that 3K damage in one game? That's insane! But no, it's not. We can do 4K and get 25 kills.
Flex probably haven't done 4K in every game they've played thus far. If you add it all together. And then in one game alone, they get 25. It's ridiculous. It's ludicrous.
Oh, yeah.
How have we got to this point? So Flex in total, right, had 39 kill points prior to this game. Total. They just got an additional 25.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
The world we live in. Flex.
So the best way to win is if you kill everyone and you don't die. I think that's what they did, right? They were just better than the enemy, so they killed them before they got killed.
But the thing is, let's be reasonable, right? That's not a strategy that is going to work like that. Flex had the confidence. They had nothing to lose because they were thinking they're going down and out of it.
1800 damage on one player, James. What the...
Yeah, Cust was delivering. And the thing is, he was the point man.
Yeah.
Multiple times he was the first one out the building. And the thing is, we spoke about that before with some teams. The first one out can normally get a bit of damage but then dies. Difference was with Cust, he was landing it all. He was just ripping players apart, limb by limb.
Absolutely mental. 1800 on one player. That doesn't happen very often. And you'd imagine he would have more than 7 kills, but no. He was the front man. He did the initial damage.
Yeah.
And instead of just trying to be greedy to get the kills, he would keep running, you know, just dodging bullets and stay alive. And what a game.
I need to see these standings. I need to have an understanding of where we are sat. This has been wild.
Yeah.
This is the best ending we could look for. And the standings are in front of us now. 1-8. And M19 sit in 8th place. B13 6th. White Pulse up in 4th. They're the teams coming out from the other side of the lobby. Because remember, the other teams like Team Unique, Defprmia 99, EpicGang, these are all already kind of got themselves in there. They had nothing to really worry about. Oh, bring on the next one. Don't keep us waiting.
I want to fast forward to 2 more.
And we see, okay, so ASC comfortably in. Romania, they've done it as well, as have Rosq. Fair play to them.
Avangar, not in the most comfortable position, if you ask me. I would have liked to see them top 8. That M19, they managed to crawl into, and I literally say crawled because I think they're one of the more passive teams that I've seen, right? M19, they are literally snaking every single game.
This is crazy.
Where's Flex? Oh, dude, what?
17th! 143 points at the end.
They went from like 28th
Wait a
to
sec.
17th. That's something ridiculous.
That is nuts.
And we see CZCZCZ. They're still in it, but one team that's missing is Kuma,
Oh,
as they jump
Kuma.
down to 25th.
So your first 8 eliminated teams, ladies and gentlemen. Kuma to Mio, OMGG, Ottomans, Team Hayro, TRD, LDRS, Cream Esports EU, Face to Face, and Asterion. Now, let's just break this down while we've got this screen up for a little. Well, we didn't have the screen up anymore. It's gone. But looking at that screen, Kuma, they fought every single step of the way. They were a very passive team, right? But they were always trying different things. They had a very nice play style at times, but it was like they just needed a little bit more refinement, I think.
Right. Like you said, they were trying a bunch of different things. I think it has been a good learning experience for them. They found something that worked a little bit, and then they were trying to improve on that. And I think in the future, if they want to keep grinding, they're motivated, there might be someone that can, you know, show some potential in the future.
Yeah, it's certainly that as well. Asterion, we did see 1 or 2 games where we went, okay, it's not too bad. They may have finished in last place, but you still got to think. Look at all the millions of players around the world that play PUBG Mobile. And then look at it in terms of just Europe as a region. I obviously don't have the direct numbers of how many people play within Europe, but I mean, you were still part of one of the top 32 teams within all of Europe competing here for $2.5 million on our Club Open for 2019. That on its own is impressive and something for all of these players to be proud of. My God, today has been amazing, Larson. We finished another week. We've done it. We got there in the end. That was the most exciting ending to any game. And my question is for you guys at home, do you think Flex could pull something off like that again? Well, you'll have to join us for week 3 when we come back next week to do it all over again. 24 teams remaining. If you want to see all the standings and everything to do with Club Open, not just from Europe, but all the other regions, head over to clubopen.pubgmobile.com and also subscribe to our YouTube channel where you can watch all the VODs back. And I'm definitely going to watch a VOD back to try and tell this man if Ultra did drop military as well. We still got to finish that off.
Let's just leave it at that.
We'll leave it at that. VSS is king. Flex do the unthinkable. It's been a mental day. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you next week for more PUBG Mobile action.
Play PUBG Mobile for free.